Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover. It is brought to you by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Hello.
Hello.
Here we go.
Who's your daddy? You think instead of planning a
Uh-oh. What's this? What text did you get?
No, I'm looking
Is it Hulk Hogan?
I'm looking at a picture of you and wondering how long ago this was.
Oh, it's me at Wrigley Field. Yes. Look at how cute I am.
Well, so it is about this time of the year because this is
Nick's like, no, thank you.
there's a big thing at Wrigley Field when they take all of the letters off the scoreboard.
Yes.
It's usually about this time of the year. If the Cubs, you know who regularly are playing this time of the year at Wrigley?
Regularly, yeah.
So it had to be about this time. The field has not been converted to football.
Yeah. This
Did you break in?
No.
Were you on a tour?
I was on a tour, yeah.
Was this a Northwestern Nebraska weekend?
It was not.
Were you just in Chicago randomly?
I went to Chicago to go to a Bulls game. The Bulls.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, I remember this story.
Just want to go to a Bulls game, huh?
Just randomly?
MJ doesn't play.
It was a work thing.
No, it was.
Well,
we wanted to go to Chicago, but then we went to a Bulls game, and that was kind of the main idea.
Okay.
But then there was a lot of other stuff that happened on the trip too.
Did you go to Rosemont, Illinois, and visit the Big Ten offices?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
Were you picketing with parents?
But apparently, I went up to Wrigleyville and went on a tour. This was March 7th, 2020.
Hey, let's.
This was a mere days before our lives were changed.
All right, let's do
forever.
something. Everybody open their phone.
What? Go to where you were on March 7th, 2020?
No.
Oh.
How many pictures do you have on your phone?
Oh, my
Or
God.
as they say in the iPhone world, items.
I mean, probably 10 to 20,000 would be my guess.
Mine is
7,198.
okay. I'm at 14,148.
How do you know that?
Here.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Here we go.
I got
Before you-
3,500.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, never mind. I didn't count downloaded. Okay, so 8,688.
Before he responds, do we want to take a gander at how many items on his iPhone Connor has?
Yours was 14?
Mine was 14,148.
Then Connor's
17.
I'll go 18.5.
Okay, 17.
10,810.
Oh, Gary's the
I would've
photo
thought
guy.
you'd have
I
more.
keep it clean. I keep it tight.
But you reach back with a lot of pictures.
Gary's the photo
Like,
guy.
can we get even more in
There's a
depth
picture
here?
for everything.
Can you go to
Yeah,
your
pick a date. I'll
Hey.
tell you what I was doing.
Can you go to your selfies? I want to see how many selfies you have.
Selfies. Is that does it make an album?
See, I don't have
Yeah,
an album.
so
Okay, but I'm a
so
droid
there.
guy.
Yeah, you can go if you scroll all the way down on the new. If you've downloaded the new iOS,
selfies. 744.
there you
selfies.
go, my man.
Wow.
744 selfies.
Look at that.
Seems like a lot.
That's a lot of selfies.
That is.
Let's go back to the earliest selfie of me. Oh, a classic at the 2014 American League wildcard game. That was great. A lot of me at Royals games, various sporting events, some people in the background, family members. 744 selfies is plenty enough.
Okay.
We are doing a radio show pictures for 2 years.
It's actually not enough.
So I want to read this email because this happened at the end of our show. Grand Island Senior High. The girls.
No, we're not talking about it.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I heard your whole thing about Benson the other day.
Yeah.
I
don't have
So
any takes.
David writes in. He goes, regarding the GI girls basketball, it's a byproduct of volleyball's growing popularity here in Nebraska and girls playing club through the winter, not wanting to play
Okay.
basketball because of it. That's
So-
anecdotal from other people in those mid-Nebraska communities, but I could see it being true here. Now, somebody else also just reached out to me, and they said, if you look at the girls' wrestling roster at Grand Island, there are a lot of girls that are wrestling.
So doesn't Grand Island have
Okay.
aren't they one of the highest enrollments in the
There, it's a
state?
big enrollment. Yeah.
Yeah.
they were not very good last year. They won one game.
and they have some sort of a coach change or something like that.
Don't know about that.
Okay.
And I can't remember if GI Northwestern, Grand Island Central Catholic, one of them does, maybe both have very good volleyball.
So you're saying volleyball has killed girls basketball?
Well, you do play because the volleyball season has a couple more weeks left. and then you do play during the winter club, and club volleyball at the high school level is pretty competitive. I mean, it's a commitment.
Or
So I
state.
could see that.
Oh man, that's been a thing for a really long
Sure.
time. If you decide at that age that you're good at one sport, it behooves you to play that sport more and play other sports less. It's hard to get that into kids'
What
heads.
if we opened up in this town, it's very competitive and there's a lot of options for the youth sports academies, so to speak. What if we opened up a youth sports academy? We'll get out of this business. You don't have to go to Potbelly and be their social media manager.
But it pays really well.
85 to 100K.
That's really
I call
good.
BS.
Yeah, that's really
That's
good.
what it said on
Hey,
LinkedIn.
what if we opened up a youth sports academy here in Omaha, and in the fall we offer football, then the same kids play basketball in the winter, and the same kids play baseball in the spring, all under the same roof.
That would probably work, right? Because then you're not because then you're not getting into the competitive nature of like, well, I have to keep playing this sport, otherwise I'll lose my spot.
So we're promoting an environment of competitiveness, not just one sport specific. I like
That's
that.
right.
Just
But
pitch us to create a competitor to the NSAA.
You did. Yeah.
we are making a high school. Yes.
You want us to promote
okay.
3 sport athletes.
I'm open about this. I think because of our location, they should turn Elkhorn Mount Michael into IMG of the Midwest.
What do you have against Elkhorn Mount Michael?
Well, I'm just using that as an example
He hates
because
they have dorms.
I believe that you don't have to. There are people from not in the area that can go to Elkhorn Mount Michael, correct?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because it's a very
Yes.
prestigious school.
Yeah.
But we could open right here an IMG. Maybe it won't be Elkhorn Mount Michael. We won't overtake their school because, rest in peace, Killer Kane probably wouldn't like that. But what we could open, I've wanted to open an IMG. Right here, you got easy access to airports. All the recruiters can come in.
I don't think that really solves anything. Though.
Airport.
I think you're just. This is a separate thing.
Yeah, it's separate because I'm
Yeah.
going youth to, but I'm talking high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is not solving any.
All right, now back to
We need more babies, is what we need.
No, I mean
And
there's enough babies. They're
that
just
can cut
playing
both
the
ways, Josh.
they're
That
just
can
playing
cut
the
both ways,
wrong
buddy.
sports.
You ever see the movie
So-
Idiocracy?
some of those babies are not getting involved in organized sports
That's right.
because they are burnt out by the time they get to high school.
They burn out by the time they get to middle
or they're
school.
playing other sports, and they
Yeah,
wanna-
or they've done the one thing where I hate this
Yeah.
is they've narrowed it down to being a one sport kid
100%.
before they ever get to high school,
Right.
where you have
The
cuts.
environment right now. If you want to play you figure out that you're the best at volleyball, whatever. You want to play that sport at a high level, you got to keep playing. Otherwise, you'll get worse while other people are getting better.
Which is
And-
completely wrong, but yeah.
100%, it's wrong. But
And ask most, if not all, college coaches when they recruit, they like to go recruit and watch them play in the other sport that they're not
Yeah.
recruiting for because
Yeah.
they want to see them compete in a different environment.
Jim
It is-
Harbaugh, didn't Harbaugh show up to watch Fedoni play basketball
Yep.
at Council Bluffs Lewis Central?
it's competition and valuing winning, losing, whatever against development of the actual
Yep.
person, the student athlete, whatever.
Agree. Now back
Okay,
to
No more.
okay. Potbelly would pay you $85K to run their social media.
Pull up the email. Yep.
Now I want to know what's on your LinkedIn profile. That they
LinkedIn-
would think that was
Does
a
that have
good
something to do
job
with
for
your
you.
meat slicer?
LinkedIn send me a bunch of jobs that they thought would be right for me.
Got to be careful when you work at 1620 The Zone and you put on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job.
I did put that for the record. I know that's been some people's idea before. I did not do that, but LinkedIn just likes to keep me updated just in case. So yeah, one of the jobs top picks for me was to be the manager of their social media at Potbelly Sandwich Company. I do love Potbelly sandwiches, and I love social media.
You could be tweeting about the meat.
I could be.
You could tweet your meat.
I could be. I think I'd be really good at this actually, and I could work remotely. I could still do this job theoretically. I could be rich. I could just do sandwich tweets on the side.
Well, this is where the meat slicer comes
What do you
in
do
too.
for a
You can
living?
show your
I
own.
do sandwich tweets. Oh, do you travel around to different restaurants? No, I'm Potbelly.
They send them to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's
You
quit.
tell them to take a couple pics and then you pop it up on social media. You gussy it up.
I know that. So look at what are the requirements that stand out?
Good question. Let's see.
Does it say anything to do with we would have preferred that you eat? That you're not a
Eat at
vegetarian?
You got to know the product.
Yeah, you've eaten at Potbelly.
Well,
You're
I
part
have
our
plenty of
Potbelly
times.
Club.
Potbelly's actually pretty good.
Potbelly's awesome.
Yeah.
Fully remote in the United States candidate must reside in a potbelly market.
All right.
Which I do.
Which you do.
Which I do.
Yep.
With preference for Chicago, Illinois, which I do not live in Chicago.
Do they still have the one over at Midway? They used to have the Potbelly at Midway.
I
think they got rid of that.
I'm not
didn't
sure.
they?
Great place.
The airport?
Yeah, the airport.
Okay.
Pretty
Airport?
sure.
Midway, the airport.
Yeah. It was right next to Harry Carey's.
There's a whole bunch of bullet points in here. I don't want to bore you with the details, but I think I'm qualified. I can do some tweets. I'll do tweets.
Tweet your meat.
All right. Well, I am more.
I'll show them my tweets.
I am pro lead belly over pot belly.
Oh, Lead Belly's great. That was sad.
Lead belly.
Whoa.
left.
I mean, lead belly, pot belly, not the same.
I know,
No.
but
Yeah.
lead
Yeah.
belly
Just if you're
better
pick-
than
if,
pot
if
belly.
you're picking a belly,
Yeah.
you're more lead
I
than
like
pot.
I like the sit down lead belly food that you're weighted on.
Me
There's
too.
beer.
Oh,
I like sitting
That's
in
true.
the train.
Good beer selection, too.
I like sitting in the train.
At Lead Belly?
Yeah, in Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
They never had the
Midtown
train here
Omaha.
in
one.
Omaha.
Yeah, they
We
never
used
had
to have
a
one in
Omaha.
Midtown and then it closed. It was
Yep.
very, very sad. It had
Yeah.
a great location right on the
They-
corner.
Every time we were
did,
there,
yeah.
it was always busy, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be, I bet every other week I was in there. And when one of the waitresses said, yeah, this is our last week, I was like, excuse me, are you guys moving? Like maybe
Yeah,
out west?
yeah.
Everybody goes west.
Mhm.
And they're like, no, lead belly will not exist in Omaha.
Do you get? Do you
Very
guys?
sad.
Do you
That
guys
was
get
sad
hot
day.
peppers on your sandwiches?
I do.
If it's an
Yeah, I do.
option.
Yeah, I
The
do.
If I'm in the
Gardner-
mood, yeah.
I do.
Not every time.
Not-
Picklemans.
Not every time.
Yeah.
I go sliced jalapenos.
So Pickleman's has hot peppers, but they're not as hot as the potbelly hot peppers.
I'd agree. Yeah. Potbelly's got some spice. to
They
it.
really smash you with those
Mhm.
hot peppers. I say light hot peppers.
You are like going through a job interview on the air here.
Well, I
Are
just
you
want
going
them
to
to.
record this? Are you going to send the clip?
Yeah, I just want them to know how much I know about that place. I'll take a rec, please. Everything's on it. Sure. The hot
Does it?
pepper.
Do you think it would give you a leg up that you do slice meat?
Some maybe I have experience with slicing.
You know
meat.
what a great way to apply for this job is? Why don't you do a video of you slicing meat in a way that if you were making a particular potbelly sandwich?
That's a
this
good
is how
idea.
you
I have
slice
some
meat.
stock video of me slicing meat, so I can just send that off.
Have you ever had the peppers at
You have, like,
Portillo's?
what,
in
B-roll?
Chicago?
Yes, I have.
Wait a
Those are
minute.
hot.
You have,
Those
like-
are hot peppers.
You have like B-roll of you slicing meat?
Yeah, you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
For what exactly?
Just in case.
Guy stops you on the corner and
I
goes,
have
hey,
a
what do you...
bunch of stock B-roll of me doing various tasks that just in case it comes up, I could send it off.
Just in case Mr. Beast stops him on the sidewalk and goes, hey, if you have a video of yourself slicing meat, I'll give you $10,000 right now.
Got it.
Boom! Here it is.
Cut that check, dork.
I do love the hot peppers at Portillo's. We
Yeah,
need
they're
a
good.
we need a Portillo's.
We do need
We
a
do.
Portillo's here.
Me too.
You got to dip it.
Oh,
too.
I'm sure. Well, like Josh yesterday started getting bird store ads.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I bet the Birdman himself.
Got a bunch of bird ads.
By the way, how did that poll go? Of do you know your birds?
It was
Was it
about
most-
50-50. I was kind of surprised.
Most people knew their birds. Huh? That's good. At least half the people. Knew
Well,
their
I'm
birds.
sure, like Portillo's has like started to move west a little bit, but I'm sure that they will screw with the Omaha market
Yeah.
and Giordano's will say, hey, what if we came to Omaha?
Yeah.
And we'll go and we'll
And then
vote.
we win a whole contest.
Yeah, Facebook contest.
And you know where they move it?
Des Moines.
To Des Moines.
Yep.
Yeah.
To West Des Moines.
Classic.
Every time I
Right,
get off,
right down the street from Pancheros.
Yes.
One
right,
of the
right
many.
across the street from Jordan Creek.
Yep,
One of
the
the
Jordan
many
Creek. We always take the
Pancheros.
Jordan Creek exit. I always drive by the Giordano's on the way to Pancheros. Never
I
stop-
think
or not,
people
never
take
stop at
advantage of
Giordano's.
us Omahans because we like to vote in polls.
You're absolutely right about
Great.
that.
Great.
They
We
know.
believe that it'll make a difference. We believe that our
Hey.
vote is actually going to
Well, we couldn't
provide results.
We couldn't leave it out there. Hey, look, there's Dion as a pigeon. Bam! We couldn't leave it out there knowing that we didn't do our part.
Yeah.
Like there was more for us to do. We
Like,
have to at least do
If
that.
I was a pro in engagement farming, I would always do a poll that included something about Nebraska football.
Oh yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
did when I had a burner account.
Voted or did polls?
No, I did. I started one of those bogus ass college football accounts that just tweets garbage all the time, and I would be like, I would just try and get engagement with Nebraska
Yeah,
fans.
yeah.
Like, hey, best home environment in the country or something like that, and either I'd make Nebraska number 1 or Nebraska number like 18 or something like that. It really was good. I had a real run.
Can I ask Did we delete it or just
I don't
stop?
know. I don't know. Let me see if it's out there.
Well, why don't
still.
you give out the name and we'll look it up?
Let me make sure first. It hasn't been taken over by bots or something like that.
Like somebody is just tweeting from the burner account.
I don't know. Let's see.
Just wants to make sure that it's a safe for work account still.
Yeah, it was like College Football Report or something like that, or College Football Report Now, or something stupid like that. We only did a couple tweets, but we got some traction.
I think I remember this one.
Oh yeah. You probably
I think I participated in.
Well,
polls.
we got our magnum opus was we got put in a bracket with all the other burners.
Yeah.
And
Oh, nice. Very good. That is something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I totally remember that one.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
I don't. Let me see if I can find it because I'm not logged into it anymore. See at CFB Report Now. Most reliable and accurate college football picks and predictions every year.
How many followers, Jeff?
Oh, wow.
We ended up having 114 followers.
Oh, here's fastest players in college football.
Okay, what did we do?
Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah.
at LSU football. Casimir Allen
Yeah, I think we just Googled fast guys.
at UCLA.
Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz at Auburn football. Luke McCaffrey at Husker FB Nation, which was the account at the time.
That's right, got 31 retweets. Hearing some interesting things out of the SEC today. Sound like something is going down.
I could retweet that now and it would get traction.
It would.
No one would
Now,
look at
what
the date.
year is
Nope.
this that you tweeted?
This is in the neighborhood of 2019, 2020.
You
yeah.
were Sir Yacht before Sir Yacht.
Basically. Yeah. We ranked all the Big Ten coaches that got some retweets.
Go back to the thing about the SEC. Did anybody respond?
No, not really. That didn't get much engagement. We didn't push that one out there that much. But yeah, we ran it like all the stupid idiotic burner accounts do now. So we just wanted to troll, you know? And it worked. It was a short period of time.
I think you should. I think
We did a top 25 that got a whole bunch of retweets.
Yeah.
Because we put Nebraska in at number 7.
2019.
2019. This is preseason.
Nebraska number 7.
Nebraska's number 7.
Well, that year 2 for Scott Frost's going to pop.
I
Top 10.
remember me and my cohort at the time were just kind of sitting around and thinking of ways that we could,
hopefully that was off the heels of Dan Orlovsky saying that the college football playoff dark horse is Nebraska. That year.
maybe it was probably right
You had
around
a lot
that
of momentum
time.
right there.
It's probably right around.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Boog. Boog has been in the sun.
Yeah.
Oh, Poog. You take off the sunglasses at some point.
He looks
Well,
like Cesar Romero from
He
the
does.
Joker.
He does look like the original. I was like, who does he remind me of? That's a good call.
Husker Nation, where are you at? Retweet if you're ready for the offseason to
The
be over.
original Joker.
There you go. That's what we did.
Cesar Romero. Good call, Josh.
So that was at the height of like Scott Frost's popularity. And
I see what you're trying to do.
people were ready to
Good
roll
on you.
for sure.
Did you get any comments of like number 7 really for Nebraska?
I don't remember what the comment said. I should have looked.
Now the best would be if you got quoted in an article.
I can
Yeah.
restart that back up.
You should.
Why don't we do it today?
Yeah,
Right now.
fire it back up.
Well, I'd have to remember the password. That seems to be quite the blockage.
No.
Bill Connolly has a new stat.
Ooh.
What's a new stat?
It's
Josh?
a new stat.
Like a new number of involved in one of the
plus?
stats, or a new stat he just came up
a new stat he just came up with.
Oh.
He made it up.
What is it?
Introducing Dog in Him, measuring the quarterbacks who best combine A, doing stuff, B, taking hits, and C, being good. Diego Pavia, your current leader in Dog
He's
in
got the
Him.
dog in
Is
him.
this April Fool's Day?
Where's
God, can't we get
Where's
to
Dylan?
11 a.m. tomorrow?
what's the dog in quality on Dylan?
Not ranked.
Garbage.
Oh, come on.
Garbage list.
Flawed.
Whole question: has Nebraska football fallen off the map quicker than anybody else in 2024?
Top 25 Dog in Him quarterbacks. No, Dylan Raiola. No, Curtis with a K either, though.
Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I
3
know.
Fridays ago,
Yeah.
when Nebraska was
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Riley Leonard is 8th.
It's gone. It's all over. So where's the dogging him? Okay, dogging him. These are just SEC quarterbacks. Classic SEC bias, ESPN.
Luke Altmaier on the list.
Of course,
Yeah.
He's got some.
Hey.
He's got some dog in him.
Mhm.
classic Diego Pavia.
I would say Dylan's got dog in
What
him.
about Curtis Rourke?
He's not on there apparently.
No
'Cause,
Heisman
ESPN
for
doesn't
him?
care about the SEC.
Overrated.
Well,
He's
he
not
hasn't.
if he's not on the dog in him list.
He hasn't really done anything cool yet.
He's 6-0. That's cool to me.
I care about dubs. I care about wins. He hasn't really Has Curtis Rourke had a highlight this year?
No, because
He's just throwing touchdowns
They haven't
all the
played
time.
anybody.
I'm aware.
He had a nice throw, back corner, right corner of the end zone against Northwestern.
All right, I haven't seen it. I mean, except for when I watched it. When I watched it,
It has
on the
not. Yeah,
highlights.
you're right. It has not been shared worldwide.
That's right. It hasn't gotten on the burner accounts yet. That's when
Would
you
he
know
make a list
That's when you know it's good.
on the burner account?
Oh, how many hours till Ohtani's up, Josh?
It's not very many. It's I think it's just 4.
Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
4:00 game today.
4
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
until he hits a leadoff.
Did you hear
donger.
what JD Martinez has described Ohtani as? A 14-year-old playing in a league of 10-year-olds?
He kind of is.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
At times, yeah.
I
It
thought
is
he got
pretty
hurt, though, late last night.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
he
the
fouled
ball-
that
Oh,
ball.
that did
ball
not look
off
good
the-
initially.
Yeah. Yep.
That would have been a really funny. They're up 10-2, and he's hitting at a meaningless plate appearance at the
Yeah.
ninth, and
Yep.
goes down.
And then he's done. Like, yep.
Yeah,
not recovered
Dodger
from that one.
overreaction would have been
Not
would have
good.
been- He would have been taking calls.
Oh, many people were saying that Dave Roberts was going to screw something up yesterday. That would have been it.
Yeah, this one I don't think he can screw up. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be okay.
I think they're fine.
What about the OMG Mets?
Yeah, they're done.
Oh,
you know what? Sometimes
my
after
God.
the heart
I
and
checked in on Bobby
the
Valentine.
heart and grit,
What about my
sometimes
Subway
talent weighs out.
series?
You like your Royals?
What about the heart and the grit of the Royals?
No, the Mets are like the heart and the grit. You know, they fought hard,
And you saying
adversity,
They
resilient,
ran out of
and then
gas.
They're
sometimes
gritty
you
over
play a
pretty.
team that's
With the
more
highest
talented.
payroll in the sport.
Gritty over pretty.
You
I
never
mean,
know.
What if we have a Yankee Dodger World Series? It's just going to prove that the luxury tax is not high enough.
Will they be talking about the multiple time zone jumps in the World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers?
That is
That's a good question.
if you had the burner count going, that'd be one way.
You should.
Just remember, Big Ten teams who travel more than one time
Yeah.
zone are 1 and 9 or
Have
whatever.
the Big Ten logo and MLB logo meme handshake.
Yeah.
Like, yep, this is our
So-
problem.
So we have to watch who is on this. Who's on watch this week? USC, Oregon tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of watch out, they're
Oh.
traveling.
Oh, yeah.
A real
Two-time-
trap game.
That's how Fox is presenting it. So
Yes.
at least you'll watch for the first quarter. Why
Yeah,
do I
th-
think
then
that,
we asked Fox, who's starting a quarterback for Purdue? They're like,
Why do I
Don't
think
worry
that
about it.
Purdue? Like there will be a moment in the game where you're like, could this happen?
So UCLA's going to Rutgers and USC's going to Maryland.
Ooh.
Travel watch.
USC has not won, I think, a road game 2 time zones in the last 10 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
Now it doesn't
That's
happen very
impressive.
often, but
That sounds like a burner stat.
Yeah, it does. It's impressive. Though.
Oh, BYU is on tonight.
the quarterback.
That's what they're calling
Yes.
it.
Who's they,
So
Josh?
Jake
The
Retzloff
college
is the
football
quarterback. Do you know
plant.
that he's
Wow.
one of 3 Jewish kids on campus at BYU?
I didn't know that we just talk about
Yeah, I
people's religion.
I didn't.
ESPN did. They did a
Josh,
whole feature on him this
They
weekend.
did a whole. They did a whoever their Tom Rinaldi is now.
I know.
I mean, I think it's a big deal if you're Jewish and you're going to school at BYU.
Josh, calm down.
It is. It is a big
Because 97% of the
Yeah.
population is LDS.
It's of note.
They
Yeah.
are.
How many times during that story though, do you think
Oh,
they cleared with legal?
But-
They're like, we can
But
say.
do you
I don't
say-
like this.
So how do they
it's
know?
him. It's the quarterback saying
How,
it. He
how do
can
they
say
know
this,
there
right?
are 3 Jewish students? Do you have to declare?
I would imagine
filled out a
They
questionnaire.
can probably ask BYU. Yeah,
You can?
BYU probably can. I mean, it's probably
Is that legal?
I don't know.
private-ish.
Like, did they, when you guys all filled out an application to work here, did they ask you your religion?
No.
I fill out a questionnaire.
Yeah,
Check a
so
couple
many
boxes.
Well, don't you always have the choose not
No,
to
there's no
answer?
way they ask you what your religion
No,
is.
they
Took
don't.
many photos.
But don't you have the option to choose not to answer? Like,
No,
are
they-
you
they-
A,
you
B,
always
C, or
have
D,
that
or
option.
I
I
would-
choose not to
I would
answer.
scroll down to all of the above.
legally they cannot ask you your religion when hiring.
Yeah, I'm all of the above.
What about if you're applying for a sandwich social media job?
I would imagine no, they cannot
Yeah,
ask
I'm
you
going to
that.
assume they're
The only thing they're going to ask you is where were you on January 6th?
Also, no comment.
On J6.
Rutgers goes to USC next week.
Oh.
Do you think they'll just fly on the plane with UCLA?
That is for
They're
our
like travel buddies.
That is for our
Yeah.
11 p.m. Eastern Friday
Yes.
kickoff.
Nice.
That'll be a lot of fun.
No, don't you think they should
Oh,
just
that's right.
fly with UCLA?
So UCLA is
Save travel?
UCLA is not playing next week.
No, but they could fly on UCLA's plane back to LA. So
Mhm.
they're out there in plenty of time to get acclimated.
They'll get acclimated to the time zone, the
Oh, okay,
temperatures,
I
all
got
that
you.
stuff.
I got you.
Probably have some late practices.
How many people do you think will be at that game tomorrow in New Jersey? Because the Yankees will be playing.
Yeah, that's true.
Tickets as low as $27.
Who's Rutgers playing tomorrow?
UCLA.
For 15,000.
15,000.
15,000.
Go Yankees. I keep
It's
seeing
your own
the-
fault.
I
Playing
keep
with the
s-
Yanks.
I keep seeing the videos of the guy starting the roll call in the bleachers. It's triggering me. That guy is a total doof.
A doink.
What a nerd. Have you seen that guy?
Yes,
That guy sucks.
he's every game. Someone films him on TikTok.
Yo, Aaron! And then they chant Aaron Judge. Like, I know the roll call thing is cool, but like, imagine being the guy to start the roll call.
That'd be like starting a wave.
I don't want to
Oh,
be
yeah,
that.
sure.
I don't want to be that guy.
What-
I don't like that.
At what
guy.
point do you decide that's what I want to do today?
What's that guy's name?
Rizzo!
Bring back. What was the other guy's name? Bald Vinny. Bring back Bald Vinny. That guy was better.
That's stereotyping a Yankee fan.
No,
that
he's
sits in the
literally the
left
guy
field
named Bald
bleachers.
Vinny. And then they had the guy named Freddie who didn't have eyes and he hit on his little pan the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
He died.
He did die.
Have fun.
Can't replace that guy. Yeah, I met Freddie. I met Freddie at a Yankee game. Roger Clemens pitched.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Freddie was really
Did
scary.
he throw anything at you?
He was really scary looking at me.
Did he feel your face to get a feel of what you look like?
No, he wasn't. No, he
And
was
said,
good
"Wow, you're a
staying in his
good-looking
own
guy."
kind of bubble. But Freddie would do his little articles. He basically Freddie had his own newspaper,
Okay.
and
Wow.
he would have like a headline, and then have his pan that he pounded on.
What kind of headlines were there? Were they like page, like were they back page headlines for the New York Post? Were
I think they were like
punny.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
They were like prediction headlines
Okay.
for the. Don't do this. This isn't.
This is sad.
Watch the game. Be an adult.
It's at the beginning of the game. It's the roll call.
This is the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
God, it's awfully quiet for the beginning of a baseball game.
This is embarrassing. Aaron Judge. Okay, enough. Turn his mic off. Gary's done. Had it.
He's been muted.
That guy sucks.
He does the.
Yeah. The roll call is cool. The roll call is cool.
Disagree.
Hey, I wonder if your
Disagree.
what if your buddy over here would feel different if the Yankees hadn't played the Royals?
No, I would. I would feel the exact
What
way
do you
the
feel
same.
about Fireman Ed? Fireman Ed?
Oh.
That guy?
Bleep that
sucks.
guy.
That guy sucks
He
too.
said, "I'm not going to
Yeah.
Jets games anymore." And then they said, "Okay, we'll pay attention to you." And he's like, "Okay, I'll go to
Well,
Jets
he's in
games again now that
controversy
they got
'cause
Aaron
didn't put him on
Rodgers."
they didn't put him on the
Yeah,
video board.
bleep that
Yeah.
guy.
Come on, man.
That's what I think we need.
So they're saying that this guy is Bald Vinny, but he's not bald, and he's not Vinny.
Is it like a reverse nickname?
I don't.
Does he
Is it like
actually
tiny?
does he have like a luscious
It's kind
mane?
of like when they call somebody fat and they're
Uh-huh.
not fat. That's
Yeah.
just really cool.
or tiny, and tiny's usually
Yeah.
really, really huge.
This guy took the place of Bald Vinny. He's imposter Bald Vinny.
Let's be honest.
Oh, there's Hammy.
Hey, at the end of the day, no one can replace Bald Vinny.
I know.
You can only hope to, complement his style.
God.
You know what? I'm gonna get
Hammy
an
looks
orange
so-
shirt and join the 7 line instead of hanging out with these guys.
Hammy looks so happy right now.
Yeah, he does.
He had some good calls. last
Big
night.
Christmas. Ah!
The Feliz Navidad Spanish broadcast was
So good.
fantastic.
So good.
Carlos Baerga
How many-
losing it.
How many different angles of that did you watch?
Many. Many. The center field cam that Shave sent to me, which is
the ballpark
just-
cam?
Yes, that is amazing.
The ballpark cam was awesome.
Where there's crowd
Yeah.
noise, and then it gets quiet as the pitch comes. Then you can actually hear the, and then it just erupts, and
So
then
there-
fireworks go off, and then they zoom into home plate. Oh,
I love that because one of my favorite videos from the Royals run in 14 was when they clinched against Baltimore at home
Mhm.
and they swept them. And there was a guy in the parking lot and he had his phone out
Yeah.
and the crowd is really, really loud.
Yep.
Ball gets caught. It's ground ball to third base. Soft.
Builds.
Here it comes.
Builds.
Yep. Fireworks
And then
go
fever pitch,
off.
yeah.
Like, oh, what a video.
It's great.
I'm surprised that, like, for one of the playoff games, either like the Gordon home run against the Mets or in the A's wild card, that there was no camera like on top of, where the
Crown?
Fellowship of Christian Athletes is,
Oh, yeah.
across 70,
Yeah.
that you could look back into the stadium.
That'd be cool.
That would have been pretty cool.
I'm pretty
somebody
sure
should've
he's
done
doing this. He's in the ballpark already. They don't play till 7 tonight, man.
He lives there.
He
He's like
does.
Matt Rule.
He's in the booth. He is. He's in the
So
booth.
Jose Ramirez is going to come in,
Yeah,
wake him up.
He's going
from
to
his
wake him
nap.
up. He's going to bump him in the head as the door opens.
You could live at Memorial Stadium in the football facility.
Well, especially the new facility.
John asks the question: how is the roll call any different than the morons that constantly yell "Go
I
Big
was
Red,"
waiting for something.
followed by the sheep saying "Go Big
the
Red"?
sheep.
Poll question: if you respond to a "Go Big Red" chant, are you a sheep?
So essentially, he's
This will
calling
go
Will
over well.
Compton a moron because he leads it in the hype video,
Yeah, that's right.
and then the entire
Is
crowd
Will
does
Compton
it.
just glorified bald Vinny?
All right, hold on. Slow down. Will Compton just.
No, you don't have to do that
Oh,
one.
are you gonna tag
don't
Will
have to
Compton
do-
on that
You don't
too?
have to do that one.
You stop it over
Stop
there.
looking at Yankee stuff. All right, stop it. This guy sucks.
There are too many people rooting for the Yankees.
I know it's disgusting.
Mm.
All right, you guys have a great
I
afternoon.
like that email, though, of the Go Big Red now and the Yankee roll call are together.
No,
Bald Vinny.
those are not similar. Not similar.
I just like, and then the sheep.
Wake up, sheeple.
Yeah, if you respond to a "Go Big Red" chant, are you
sheep?
Are you being sheep? Is that sheep?
Is that sheep?
There are people that take pride in the fact that they start the Go Big Red show.
I know.
Sexual.
I know. We got a lot of bald Vinnies around here.
A lot of people wish they were Fireman Ed.
Maybe we need a Fireman Ed in Memorial Stadium type fan.
No, because that guy would
Like the Buckeye guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy sucks.
That
We used to
guy would
have,
think he
Mad
was
Mike,
God's
who had the
gift.
drum. This is like back in the day. I'm not sure.
What was that?
Something just fell.
Well, you said something about a drum, and then
Yeah.
something that was kind of drum-like.
All right. Well, enjoy your weekend, guys.
Hey, you
enjoy
too.
Big Red overreaction.
Yeah.
What's that?
You gonna be calling in?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I don't think so.
I was gonna leave a line open for you.
I'll listen. I know the number for the VIP line. We'll get there. All right. That's Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. We'll start things off on a Friday next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, here we go. Welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Adson with you. The culmination of Indiana Hate Week. It's in its final form today. Bring out all of your takes. I'll try and juice you guys up as much as possible. You could go on any website that you go on to get your college football news, stories, predictions.
I go to College Football Reports now.
Oh, we don't have a website. It's just a Twitter account, and it's been gone for 4 years. But so don't go there. But if you go to ESPN or CBS Sports or whatever, or The Athletic, you'll find a story about one Mr. Siggs and how cool he is because of what he's done. It's unbelievable what he's done. Beat some bad teams so far this year, right? It's unbelievable what he's done.
Many, yes, would say that they cannot believe it.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable what he's done. So get fired up by just reading the stuff about Indiana this weekend. Today on the show, Bryan Munson will join at the top of the hour. Talk some recruiting with him. Brian Christopherson live from Interstate 80 at 11:30. Once again, it's travel day. Don't know about our chances with Sipple. Haven't checked.
Seems low, right?
Seems low. But remember, last time we did this, we called and got his voicemail and listened to it live on the air.
That was a great moment in show history.
That was. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know what his travel schedule looks like. Haven't heard from him. So we'll find out if Sipple is the guest on the Connor Happer Show today. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees of John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys, 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer. I just looked at the Ohtani graphic. At Happer Show, at Connor Happer. The J-Tech Instructions on Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh Show at 1620thezone.com. On the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Also, watch us along on YouTube, 1620 The Zone TV or zonetv.live, as Josh points at you. Elsewhere in sports, we'll also, by the way, we'll make our we'll have our keys and our P's. We'll go off the board for one this weekend as well.
I have noticed that.
Also,
hard to prep for that.
Sorry, Josh.
It's okay.
Also, do you have your pumpkin watch?
I got to change it every week.
No, I just. And then wasn't there another thing that we were going to throw in there, like a Sickos game or
big meteor game of the week?
Big meteor game. Have we chosen a big meteor game?
I have some finalists.
All right. Okay. Why don't we just dive into that at some point during the show today as well? Finalists for big meteor game of the week. Elsewhere, Tony Bennett,
singer,
not the singer. He's passed.
Sad.
He has, right? We lost Tony Bennett a couple of years ago.
Yes. Would you like to guess when? That was a fun game the other day.
Yeah, let's say December of 2022.
July of 23.
Not bad.
Yeah, pretty close.
Less than 8 months off. Mm-hmm. Not bad. So the coach of Virginia, he retires during preseason camp. People forget that college basketball is very, very close, Josh.
Incredibly close. It would shock you how close. In 8 days, there will be a college basketball game on this radio station.
That's right. There will be many college basketball exhibition games within the next 9 days.
Yes.
Here, there, everywhere. So, weird time for Tony Bennett to retire.
Very weird.
But he did that.
Seems like a weird time to just get tired and want to be a better dad.
Mr. Yogurt updates us on big stadium project last night on the radio. We'll have this is going to be a weekly tradition now. I like the Rutgers Nebraska history lesson that we did a couple weeks ago before the Rutgers game.
One of our better segments.
Let's do a Nebraska Indiana history lesson. We'll go down the well in that series. We'll talk about the baseball from last night. Rule versus ranked. Oh boy, rule versus ranked is getting some run now.
We love talking about this every time.
Saturday has an opportunity for Nebraska to be a streak breaker, the bowl streak.
A slump buster.
A slump buster, if you will. A win against a top 25 team. A win against a top 25 team on the road in rule versus ranked. We will dive further into rule versus ranked during the show and add some much needed context to rule versus ranked, Josh.
Context?
Yes, context is important unless you're voting in one of our poll questions at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
That's right, which you can do with such illustrious poll questions as, if you respond to a Go Big Red chant, are you a sheep? And can anyone replace Bald Vinny? Also, one from the crossover yesterday. Who's better, Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I'd like to put a bookmark in, I'd like to just tag the Go Big Red Sheeple thing we're going to tag that one for the end of the month.
End of the month.
That's gonna pop up at the end of the deal there. Coming back, one of my favorite things about baseball is not obviously watching the baseball games, but then listening to the baseball radio calls. Let's listen to some baseball radio calls when we come back. None of them involve Bob Costas, which is great news for you. Sorry.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
None of that.
Yes, they can.
No, they cannot. No, they cannot. Most of them will feature Tom Hamilton, who had himself a great night last night and is one of the best in the sport. So we'll do that. We'll talk about the baseball. And I have a theory on the playoffs going forward. And tune in to find out. Here's a tease. Tune in to find out why the finish to these playoffs might be as late game wild as we have ever seen. Ever. I know that like the kids these days, they like to do the hyperbole. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. They pretend like history doesn't exist.
To go. Everything's to go.
I might be doing that a little bit. But I have a theory behind it. So stay tuned for that. As we come back on a Friday, the Connor Happer Show next on 1620 The Zone. Maybe we'll do this now for the rest of the postseason, Josh. The broadcast roundup, the radio call roundup. We're going to play some of the TV calls, too, from last night, but no shortage of big moments in Yankees-Guardians Game 3 in Cleveland.
A game I definitely watched.
Many shortages of big moments, by the way, in Game 4 of Mets and Doyers. That one.
That just a beatdown.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Josh is dunking on the Mets. You're a Dodgers fan, you sicko. You've turned yourself into a Dodgers fan just because of your hatred for the Mets.
Oh, God, dude. Yeah, real hot take to root for the best player in baseball. Want to see him do well and thrive now that he got out of the trash city known as Los Angeles.
And moved to where?
Chavez Ravine.
Los Angeles. All right, so let's go to Game 3 from last night in the American League. Top of the 8th. Here's Brian Anderson on the call as Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton go back-to-back off Emmanuel Clase to take the lead in the 8th.
A home run to Kerry Carpenter. That ball's hit well. Deep center field. Way back there. Giancarlo Stanton. A home run. Judge and Stanton go back-to-back. And the New York Yankees have grabbed the lead. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. There you go. All right, clip number 2. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th. The Yankees are hanging on to that 5-3 lead. For the record, and I was telling Nick this in between the crossover and the start of the show, like when the Yankees got their 5th run on a sac fly, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and shut this down. Let's just flip. Let's see what the football games got to offer. Let's see what the other baseball games got to offer. And luckily, it led me back in time to see this. This is Jhonkensy Noel. We'll go the TV call first, Josh. Jhonkensy Noel to tie the game in the 9th.
Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree!
So good.
Oh my goodness! Jhonkensy Noel!
Yeah, he donged that thing.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a ball that I knew was a home run before it left the bat.
Yeah. Maybe the Jose Bautista bat flip from a few years ago.
Oh, this is also a very good bat flip.
By the way, what's up with everybody playing Mo Bamba all the time now? Everybody's playing Mo Bamba all the time. Did you hear that in the background?
I don't know.
Mo Bamba.
It's a basketball player?
It's a song.
Based on the basketball player?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, like it's not like a love song about him. It just says Mo Bamba a lot.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it doesn't even say Mo Bamba really that much. It's an odd song. It really had a time probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's come back because they put it in the college football video game, and now everybody's playing it.
Oh.
Same play, same home run by Jhonkensy Noel, but the one and only Tom Hamilton on the call.
5-3 Yankees. Runner at second, 2 down, 9th inning, and the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and hammered. High, deep to left. Away, out of here.
Goat. Mo Bamba starts playing in the background for the record.
So they muted it?
No, I don't know. It's over.
Okay.
That was good enough.
See what he did? He just let the moment breathe. He didn't act like a douche.
Good. Bottom of the 10th. David Fry. He's had some moments here in the postseason. And let's go to the TV call first. The David Fry walk-off home run against the
in Game 3. Fry, deep drive, left field. Fry's watching. It is a walk-off home run. David Fry lights up the Cleveland night.
Let it breathe, Josh. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, one more. Same play, same home run. David Fry wins it on an epic postseason walk-off home run. Tom Hamilton, back to him on the call.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes.
Listen to that.
A walk-off, 2-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry. And the magical 2024 season is not done by any means.
No goosey pickles, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
pretty
good.
good. Yeah.
First time I'm seeing all of those.
Really? You were out for that. You didn't make it for these yesterday?
It was what, 3-0 Yankees in the 8th or something like that?
It would have been pretty responsible to turn it off.
They only had hits from like the 7, 8, 9 position. I was ready to make a bunch of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton jokes.
Yeah. And that game turned in a hurry.
Yeah.
So we got a text from my tease from earlier. Nick from St. Louis says, new segment, I have a theory. I don't have theories a lot. But actually, I don't know. Maybe I do. I do have a theory on this. So that's a wild postseason game. We've seen there's been really no shortage over the last few years in postseason play of like late inning heroics, whether it comes via the home run. Most of the time does, by the way. I'm talking about offensively. And I don't know that that's that much different than what we usually get. It's the postseason. So remember how I said, when we were talking about the baseball playoffs earlier, and it just feels like anybody can get out in the postseason, right? These teams have taken the road of building their bullpens with a bunch of people who aren't established, with the exception of really Cleveland and Emmanuel Clase. Now, they're prior to those guys, it's kind of build a bullpen as well, like just kind of taking it from different areas.
Get me from the 6th to
right.
the 8th.
And so,
if I got to have this guy come in and get 4, 5, 6 outs, I'll do it.
And
damn it.
That's generally how like bullpens have worked, but it feels like we have less established relievers than we've ever had. They seem like they're a dime a dozen, right? I don't want to discredit what these guys have been doing, but remember, Luke Weaver was, about out of the league 2 years ago, and now he's a dominant Yankees closer in the postseason, obviously until yesterday. He's pitched a lot of innings now. He faced the Royals, I think, in all but one of the games they played in that series, and he's faced Cleveland. Has he pitched in all 3 games in that series too? They have no shortage on using him. So we use him as an example. As we go deeper and deeper, my theory is this: that those relievers who have been dominant and on these stretches of dominant runs, and Class A is such a weird example of this because he's like he's the opposite of my theory. He's the exact inverse of it. A well-established reliever who's put together a Cy Young campaign who has not been good so far in the postseason in crucial moments. Maybe it goes the other way for him. I don't know. But using a guy like Weaver as an example, he has now pitched so much, and these series are getting longer. We're talking about 5-game series to 7-game series, and then in a World Series, we're going to get 7 games as well, best of 7. We might be in for some more late inning wildness as these guys continue to kind of regress to the mean a little bit. And you see that it's easier to piece together 3, 6, 9 outs for a game, 2 games, 3 games, and that's in essence what they're trying to do. That's what they're moneyballing this year around the league in baseball. Does it work on an individual game-to-game basis? Of course it does. Would you play the same team 7 times in a row? Maybe not. Maybe not. Because teams have been more apt recently to take their best reliever. I mean, Luke Weaver pitched in the 8th last night. Emmanuel Clase pitched in the 8th last night. And we're putting these guys in earlier. They're facing more hitters. And just as you go further and further into series, the hitters are able to kind of store information in the back. Maybe they don't get a hit in game 1. Maybe they don't get a hit in game 2. But this is kind of always how it's been. But as these series will go longer and longer and longer, these relievers who have had these insanely hot stretches where they look like, using Weaver as an example again, he looks like a dominant reliever in the postseason. And maybe he is human after all, after you see the same team 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, and you're pitching a pretty heavy innings load as well. So my theory is that what you saw last night in the American League Championship Series is not going to be foreign for the rest of that series and into the World Series. I think we are going to be full of late inning heroics, full of it. And just because the setup that these teams have had with their pitching rotations and with their bullpen and the heavy emphasis on those, it just everything changes when you get into these postseason scenarios. And like now that piece of it is something that we've talked about on the show as well. The game is so much different in the postseason. It's different. It's completely different in the postseason, and it is pretty dang exciting. I got to be honest with you. I have a sense. I don't know what the TV ratings have been like. I have a sense that these games, and obviously if it's the Yankees against the Dodgers, which is our odds-on favorite at this point, that'll be a very, very highly watched World Series as well.
Minus the NLCS games, the MLB postseason's been pretty good this year. Pretty watchable games.
Oh yeah.
But Connor, there's one call you forgot to include.
Oh, the Hispanic call?
Yeah.
Okay, give it to me, Josh.
El lanzamiento viene al plato. ¡Batazo! ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Feliz Navidad! ¡Don acaba de empatar el encuentro la Navidad en octubre! ¡Qué bárbaro! ¡Qué monstruo!
So good.
Those guys are very happy, and one of them said Merry Christmas.
So good. So also October. I heard October in there. October.
Okay.
Yeah, really good. Once again, if you were a regular out at Warner Park this year, you saw Jackenzie Noel hit 3 home runs in a game, and you were like, what's this guy doing here? What's happening? He wasn't there for very long.
So many players in the current MLB postseason played in Warner Park. Spencer
this year.
Torkelson spent a lot of time in Toledo this year.
Well, he's not in it anymore.
Well, not anymore. Yeah. He was.
Baseball. So there's my prediction. I guess we're gonna see some. We're gonna see some more stuff like this.
And here's the kind of the inverse of what you just said. The announcers aren't going to frame it that way. It's going to be, Giancarlo Stanton came through in the clutch. Oh, Shohei Ohtani is God's gift to baseball. Oh, the guy you've never heard of came up clutch.
Turns out the dime a dozen relievers, when you get them into longer sample sizes, don't necessarily hold up.
That's why they're relievers.
All right. So we'll come back. Bryan Munson will join us on the other side. Still plenty to come. I do want to talk about Tony Bennett. Josh seems to have lots of thoughts on Tony Bennett.
A lot of thoughts. A lot of them might be libel, slander. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, why don't you hold back on those then?
Stay tuned for those.
All right. Stay tuned to watch Josh commit crimes live on the air as we continue on. Munson joins next on 1620 The Zone.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline by Bryan Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. Happy Friday. How are you?
Bro, what's up, man? I'm good. I know it cooled down up there. It cooled down here a little bit. So it's football weather finally.
Yeah, I heard we finally you finally got out of like the upper 80s and low 90s down there.
We did. I
Congratulations.
Was a little startled by that at 4:00 in the morning, letting the puppy out yesterday morning. Was outside on the deck for about 10 seconds and said, "Oh, I don't have it in me anymore." So had to go in and get the hoodie and go back outside after that.
Yeah, it's a welcome change, to be honest with you. We got the high of 76 today. It's 62 out right now. It's a little chilly at night, a little frost on the ground when we wake up in the morning. I'm cool with it. I'm good with the season change.
There's nothing better. Like my memories of high school football, one of the best memories I've ever had is that by the time the sun has gone down, about 7:30 hits, that grass is cool.
Oh yeah,
dude. There's no other feeling. I mean, that is just like that's football 101 right there. When that weather changes and the ground gets cooled off like that, it's just awesome.
Definitely smells like football. That smells and feels like football. That's for sure. Okay, Munson, recruiting as you mentioned today in Tunnel Talk, it's been a little quiet, and that's for good reason. We've sort of touched on why all throughout the cycle here. Nebraska's done some early work and plenty of it on the 2025 class, is looking ahead a little bit now and still in the process of sort of setting up their final couple home games as well. Storylines from this week where Nebraska was active or inactive that made sense to you.
Well, we mentioned it, I think a week or two ago, probably 2 weeks ago, that we didn't really expect too many coaches out there on the road during the bye week. And there weren't, I think Keith Williams is back in St. Louis. You had Matt Rule that was in Kansas City checking out Dawson Merritt, making an offer to a 2028 wide receiver, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody needs to kind of understand, like when we used to have these, watching out for the coaches and where they would be on a given night. Those just simply aren't going to happen this fall. The new rules kind of restrict that from a numbers policy. They need to go ahead and have some replacement type ideas for in-home visits, which are basically non-existent anymore. So you're not going to have those coaches, setting up those in-home visits in December. So we kind of saw it, in March and April when, the coaches showed up at Millard North to go see Vermont and Newberry, and there was kind of an event, and Jackson Carpenter posted about his event, like his mom came over there, they took some pictures. It's a bit more than like the traditional, just kind of scouring the area, stopping in, going to talk to your coach and talk to your counselor, and then I'm out. I mean, it's not that anymore. So that's maybe like the one big change like we're seeing and kind of having to adjust to right now. We did see, however, some new offers, and I kind of outlined that going back to last week's Tunnel Talk to earlier this week's 3 and Out on Wednesday. Some interesting ones that were in there, obviously. And I think the big one I think people need to pay attention to is Casey Thomas. Casey Thomas from South Sioux City picked up a Nebraska offer. He's a name that I was throwing around in the middle of August. He had not heard from Nebraska. Really good-looking linebacker. I think he had at least the offer from Iowa. He might have had Iowa State too, and maybe another one or two. Really good-looking player, and just wasn't at the junior day in July. Showed up at like the game for Colorado as a kind of a welcome sight, But he picked up an offer from Nebraska on Wednesday, and I think that offer is going to go. And I mentioned it in 3 and Out. You're probably going to get to it here shortly, but I felt like that offer is going to go a long way with him. There's a lot of Husker supporters in his family, so I think that's going to be a good one for people to keep an eye on in the 2026 class.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff that you sort of detailed in the 3 and Out this week, as far as either offers that were going out or just things that we're sort of watching coming down the stretch here. Obviously, one of them being Dawson Merritt. Tell us a little bit about. I think this name sort of has some buzz now as well around here. Kamari Moore, who is was committed to Oklahoma, and now he's planning on visiting Nebraska for that UCLA weekend, which would be Nebraska's next home game.
Yeah, so 3-star defensive tackle, Kamari Moore, OU committed in June of last year, I want to say. Maybe it was April, but either way, he was a long-time OU commitment and a guy that Nebraska fans might vaguely remember because, Isaiah Mosey has been coming up to Nebraska for a while. He's been, when his dad was a head coach, at least on the North, he was bringing up a group of players. It seemed like a couple weekends in the fall. They'd go see some games when Scott Frost was the head coach. Then they came back, again the following spring, and then like one big name that was one of the reasons why people should know this is like Williams Nowerney. So Nowerney was like the number one defensive lineman in the nation a year or two ago, and he was coming with his coach, coming with Isaiah, and Kamari was part of that group. So I think people will kind of recollect that. Kamari just came off the board, so incredibly early.
Mm-hmm.
He took that visit to OU, committed, and then like there were other visits like that he had kind of set up to come back to Nebraska to check out. There were junior days like the following winter. He was supposed to be there. He didn't show. Things kind of felt like things were brewing, with him. Like, he's close to committing someplace, and of course he ended up picking OU. But now he's back on the market. He's going to come in for UCLA. He's going to Iowa State this weekend. I know some people are concerned about that. Iowa State, they're having a heck of a season. And I think they're really trying to grab any type of recruiting successes they can with like their on the field, success they've had so far this season and just kind of grab that momentum and see where it can kind of take them a little bit. I just feel like with having Coach Mosey and Isaiah there, and just kind of, I think Nebraska also trying to embrace, getting back into Kansas City really hard with Coach Mosey recruiting the area and what they're trying to do, like with Dawson Merritt. I think there's too much kind of going in Nebraska's favor right now, which is really something we never talked about when it comes to Kansas City kids, because we've always said, man, that's a market they should be dominating in. But now I think finally the tides are turning. They'll start to see a few more of those guys get out of the area. It's just you're still up against like Missouri's incredible NIL, that they have for in-state kids. So you're going to have to find ways. I think once you get to this salary cap that we talked about also in Tunnel Talk today, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that kind of levels that playing field a little bit.
You also wrote there was an interesting little part of the story in 3 and Out earlier this week, but when you were talking to a recruit, Caden Snyder, an offensive lineman from Kansas, and the topic of relevancy came up because if you do the math back. The last time Nebraska went to a bowl game we're coming up on 8 years since then now. Kids who are being recruited now were either, in the neighborhood of 10 years old, maybe even less than that. They don't really remember. They don't, and even though this guy is in, squarely within the 500-mile radius, that's a guy that, an area that Nebraska would have dominated before just because of their national relevancy. It was interesting to hear some of his quotes on how that has not been the case for the last 10 years, deservedly so.
I mean, totally, dude. And I'm glad you brought this up because it's interesting and it's sad because I don't think people really understand the true depths in which Nebraska football had kind of sunk to. And I don't think people really understand, where Matt Rule was kind of having to try to dig out from. I mean, I also mentioned it this morning, in Tunnel Talk, to where, they were going out like gangbusters trying to get into Texas, feeling like they could use their ties to the state and bring in these coaches that had ties to Dallas and Central Texas, and we can get these players out. Well, yeah, you can get players out of Texas, but those other players that you're getting, they're not really that kind of difference maker stuff that like the Longhorns and the Aggies and LSU Tigers and OU and Oregon Ducks that they're dipping into Texas to try to get. So those guys are seeing it, a little bit differently. So then Nebraska kind of then has withdrawn from that, and they're trying now to set out and do something a little bit different, which I actually appreciate a lot more, with kind of nailing down the in-state, being earlier, not letting the Iowa State Cyclones beat you to the punch on an in-state kid, going after the border states, going after the radius guys. But when you read Caden's comment and you go, that's a 4-star offensive tackle in the 2026 class.
Yeah.
That really Nebraska wasn't even a blip on his radar until Dylan Raiola committed.
And he's from Salina,
Nebraska.
Kansas.
And this is Salina, Kansas, 200 miles away.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really that is like such an interesting lens if you really think about how irrelevant Nebraska football had been. And now all of a sudden, though, what really moved the meter, other than Raiola committing, was like the win against Colorado, and then stacking up, 5 games kind of behind it, just the wins and the win totals. And now you get this national kind of thing that's happening out there with Joel Klatt and all the other guys talking about it. I think that's really helping out building a positive image of Nebraska. And obviously, Matt Rule is just like an absolute treat, to listen to him when he joins some of those national broadcasts. I mean, he's so amazing to kind of listen to on all of those shows. So it's I think it's all kind of coming together. I think that just people have to understand Nebraska had a game plan. They had to make an adjustment. The adjustment is necessary because of where they really kind of understood where they were at with things.
Yeah.
And they will work out, I think, from that as they continue to have success.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about this as you were explaining that. Like, the coaching staff, and this has happened with multiple new coaching staffs, but especially the ones like Rules, where there's not a whole lot of connection to the program and to the state in general. Like, they come in, and we're talking about 40, 50-year-old guys. Like, they look at the job and they say, oh man, Nebraska's a brand. Like, we're going to have no problem recruiting or anything like that. I would imagine that it was a surprise to them as they got out there on the road. They, I'm sure they talked to the high school coaches and they thought, oh yeah, we're going to be able to do this. And then they probably talked to the prospects and they're like, what, Nebraska? Like, kind of got that back. I imagine it was pretty surprising for them at first as well.
I have to totally agree with that. And I think that, maybe it changes a little bit with Texas if you're still in the Big 12, or maybe if you had more of a natural kind of a rivalry there, if you were
maybe
still fighting with UT fans or whatever the case may be. But I don't think that they had ever imagined that they would come to the realization that you just basically outlined, that the brand was recognizable to one demographic and basically had no idea what it was by the other. And it was just that's something, of course, that you gotta work that inside out now. You gotta get back to where, the kids within the area, can't think of a better place that they would want to go play football than at Nebraska. And that used to be the case. That used to be the case 20 years ago. It's not the case now. I mean, 200 miles away, a kid didn't even really know what Nebraska was until Dylan Raiola committed.
Crazy.
I mean, that is really wild to think about.
Yeah, insane. Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. All right, Munson. Anything else that we should be thinking about from a recruiting standpoint going into this weekend, next week? I mean, we're in a stretch now where it's a bye week, with two road games, and not back until November 2nd. So makes sense why it's a little quiet.
I think Nebraska is going to still continue to try to bring back some 2026s. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we start hearing more about some junior days hitting in January. Vance Spafford may be one guy that Nebraska fans need to kind of circle. He's got to release the top 8. Wide receiver from California, was there in July for the Elite Junior Day. Really good friends with TJ Lateef. They're not at the same high school, but they are good friends with one another. So keep that in mind. It would not surprise me if he makes plans to come in for either UCLA or, Wisconsin weekend or whatever. So keep an eye on that. Kamari Moore, and maybe a Dawson Merritt sneaks back up to Lincoln, one of those last 2 remaining weekends. So that's something else to keep an eye on.
All right, Munson, enjoy your weekend, my friend, as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
It begins now, buddy.
Yep.
See ya.
All right, it's Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Kind of crazy to think about, right? There's a kid 200 miles away in Salina, Kansas, who's like, what? the quote that he had to Munson was this: I didn't know much about Nebraska until Dylan Raiola came to Nebraska. Once Dylan came, it turned back around for Nebraska, and I started to pay more attention. I didn't know what Nebraska was until Dylan Raiola came to Nebraska.
Oh my!
I was just talking about the kids who were like, yeah, everything is the greatest thing of all time. That literally happened with that. But he didn't grow up in the middle of it like, Josh, you and I.
Yes,
maybe. Well, I'll just use me as an example. Like, I don't remember. I was around for the glory days. I don't remember the glory days, but I was
they were great, Connor. Let me tell you all about it.
But I was told about the glory days, and I lived in it for my entire life. So you remove those last two parts, and things change in a hurry. And we're talking about 20 years later, and Nebraska hasn't had much success, as you guys well know. We'll be back. Bryan Christopherson will join us on the other side. There's still plenty of things to talk about, many people to slander.
We'll get to it. Don't worry.
Keys, peas, picks for the weekend. Oh, Josh.
Yes.
We should give away hockey tickets.
Let's
give away some hockey tickets.
Hockey's back.
So UNO hockey, Omaha, the Mavs are back, folks. And they
won
play
the Vegas tournament last week over number 5 Minnesota.
So they deserve a warm homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
When they get things ready to go at the Baxter tonight and tomorrow.
Listen to Nick Hanley do the player intros and tell you where to get a pretzel.
So we got pairs of tickets.
That's right.
Pairs of tickets for tonight or for tonight and tomorrow.
Tonight only.
For tonight, Friday, October 18th, Omaha against Augustana. Call right now. Be caller number 2. 402-951-1620. We're going to get you into the Mavs and Augustana tonight. I don't know their mascot. Sorry.
Looked like it was like a Viking of some kind.
Sort of a Viking. Maybe it is the Vikings.
Nordic something or other.
We want to get you in there. So 402-951-1620. You can win tickets to Omaha Maverick Hockey tonight against Augustana just by being caller number 2. Once again, 402-951-1620. Bryan Christopherson is coming up on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian. Bryan Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B. Rye, B. Rooney drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline by Bryan Christopherson of Husker 247. BC, good morning. How are you?
It's been an okay morning. Watched Brunch change a tire, so that's how it's going so far.
You always, you always have such a good attitude. But I tell you what, if I was embarking on basically a cross-country road trip and I encountered car troubles within the first several minutes of that road trip, I'd probably just pack it in, to be honest with you. So I credit you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna go forward. We were by Bennett, Nebraska, barely started when it happened, and had to go back to the Lincoln Airport, get a different. We're in a Dodge Ram 1500. That's all they have is a truck. We appreciate them giving it to us, but so we're rolling in a truck, listening to some Hank Williams and all that. We're gonna make the best of it. Nobody's being a grumpy Gus about it. You just gotta. Like you gave up a first quarter block punt, and you're in a little bit of a ditch, but you gotta come back from it. There's a lot of game left.
So you're moving now. We're on the road now.
We're on the road.
Wow.
We're an hour. We got like 7.5 hours until we get to where we're going. But yeah, we're okay.
Hey, what will be the reaction if Nebraska does again give up a first quarter block punt on Saturday?
Probably a worse reaction than we had about the flat tire. That's for sure. I hope that's not in the cards. They've had some time to, study some issues they had there. But the problem is once you put something like that on tape, everybody sees that leak and they want to expose it further. And so no doubt Indiana will try to test Nebraska and see what they're made of with all their, whether it's place kicking or punting, how the blocking is in order, and obviously the snaps need to be in order on the that side of the ball too. So that's why I'm a little nervous for Nebraska in this game, because it is to me like a 50-50 game in so many respects. But then it's like that. Okay, what tilts your thoughts a little? And it's like I just don't know what I think of Nebraska in certain facets of special teams, and it just feels like that makes it tough in contests like this to have full confidence that they're going to get it done, but we'll see.
Hey, before we talk about the actual football stuff, there's a whole bunch of ancillary things here as well. Indiana has all this national attention, and they have Big Noon, and they're ranked as a top 16 team in the country. If they win, they're already they're getting talked about in the playoff conversation right now. Nebraska has all these streaks, these bad streaks that they're looking to break. They haven't beaten a top 25 team in 8 years. They haven't gone to a bowl game in that amount of time. They haven't beaten a top 25 team on the road in more than a decade now. All of those things are they factored? I don't know if they're factors in the actual game, but as far as how the teams handle the various kinds of pressure, how interested in that are you?
I am. I mean, I think the Nebraska drought and streaks are so embedded in the soil now that I don't even know how much the guys, it's on their mind day to day. I mean, obviously they know they have to end it. They got to get these bad TV graphics off the screen that it's been since 2016 for this and 2016 for that. I'm actually more curious how Indiana deals with that part, where you've got a lot of attention on a football program that doesn't normally have that. And I do think, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but it's sort of my feeling that sometimes when that happens to a school, they don't always deal with it in the best way, or they have trouble sort of with the hype that surrounds that weekend. So in a way, I think all that to that question you're asking about sort of favors Nebraska a little bit, because I do think, Indiana's the favorite in this game. Indiana's the one that Kurt Signetti's in every article from a national guy this week. And so they're sort of dealing with that. And sort of the expectation now of you're going to get this done, right? And so we'll see how they do with that on their shoulders. And Nebraska, for the first time, can go into it as an underdog. And we heard Matt Rule this week say he kind of likes that. That's fine with him. So it's a good question you ask. I think if I put it all together on both sides, I actually like it from Nebraska's spot a little bit better on that one.
Inside the battle, the biggest, like, position on position or unit on unit battle of the game, it's Indiana's offense against Nebraska's defense. Inside of that, BC, is there a thing or two that you like, or a stat that you're going to be watching more so than others in this one that might end up telling you the story at the end of the day?
Well, Indiana has like 38, I think, plays of 20 yards or more, which is top 10. So they're obviously an explosive offense. It's been against lesser competition and lesser defenses, but they get what they want a lot of times, or have so far. But Nebraska, on the other hand, has not been. I know there was the Illinois game, which was disappointing and substandard to them, but they've only given up 12 plays of 20 yards or more. So can this continue to be a game? Or can Nebraska continue with a trend where, Indiana's going to make some plays, but sort of like, when Colorado got Travis Hunter to 115 or whatever yards he ended up in that game, it was quiet.
Didn't
right?
feel like it at all. Yep.
If that can be a thing, it was a thing. And it was because when he caught it, it was maybe an 11-yard play, and you're like, okay, he's a great player. He's going to get that. If Nebraska can have that sort of game on defense where Indiana has to nickel and dime it a bit, and okay, there is a 8-yard play here, an 11-yard play there, but you're not seeing like 5 or 6 25 to 35-yard plays where just guys are running free in space. I like that for Nebraska over the course of 4 quarters. If you can make it that kind of game, bow up in the red zone, make them kick a couple field goals when they're down inside the 25 as opposed to getting in the end zone. Indiana has scored touchdowns on 30 of 37 trips in the red zone, and Nebraska's been good on that side. So this is a true good on good matchup when you put it all together, and it's just going to be kind of interesting how that plays out between two groups that I think are pretty confident going in.
I think it'll be a really, really interesting day for Nebraska's linebackers, right? You feel like the up front, Nebraska's got an advantage there, and so Indiana's going to try and scheme some things around it and get those guys on the move a little bit. So for the linebackers, with all the RPO stuff they're doing, and now, I mean, the importance of having a guy like Javen Wright in this game kind of feels like a pretty big deal to me as well. How do you feel about that group? Because against Illinois, when those guys were on the move, it wasn't always the prettiest thing in the world. How do you feel about the middle of Nebraska's defense?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the question. I think that's the group that has to have the best day of anybody on Nebraska's roster. They've got to be able to dissect quickly between run pass. I think Indiana disguises it pretty well. Obviously, they have a veteran quarterback who's completing 73.8% of his passes. So Rourke's, he's a guy who's going to make quick decisions and really test, the quick blinkers of Nebraska's backers. But I do think Javen is a big addition in this game. Javen's got such a fascinating story right now because he's not having any contact at all week in practice, but yet we heard Rule say, he could play 30 to 35 snaps. This is a Javen Wright kind of game. And it does look like he's kind of hit the ground running when he's been out there and had the right mentality, like, okay, I'm not getting the same usual practice structure, but I'm still going out there and feeling confident in myself and using all my experience to my advantage. So, this Javen could be an X factor in this game. As you mentioned, not having him in that Illinois game might have been a big deal, and maybe he turns the script on this one.
What's success for Nebraska's offense in this game look like?
Well, I think they got to hit some explosive there, and ideally, I think early they need to stretch the field on Indiana a bit. Like, you'd love to see that play where somebody gets loose deep, makes Indiana have to consider that. Maybe that opens up some things in the run game and the intermediate passing game. So I'm all in favor of Nebraska testing things out. But I think success is going to be determined also by that O-line, and we always get into the run game stuff, and yes, that's going to be a big deal, but Indiana's got some troublemakers that can get to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They've got a guy in Kamara that has 5 sacks, 7.5 TFLs, and so they're going to do a lot of twists and to play a lot of games up front with Nebraska. So how does that line respond to it? Gunnar Gatula, this is going to be his biggest challenge, I think, so far since taking that left tackle role. And so he's got to have a sturdy game. That O-line, just giving Raiola enough time, I think if they can do it, there are plays to be had in the passing game, and you can attack downfield and open up some other things, but you've got to give them the time to do it.
All right, BC, we'll let you go. Tell Bruns that he can stop doing the Cameron Crazies thing to you now as he's trying to distract you on this radio call.
No, he's not doing that at all. Bruns was a real hero this morning. Maybe that's overkill, but the way he handled that tire, it was impressive.
Did this thing require any muscle from you guys, or is it just mostly dealing with people?
Some muscle. I mean, we put he put the tire on. He did most of the work. I was talking with the person on the phone who was not a great help, but trying to get it settled what we were going to do. But I have to say, my opinion of Bronson, it's not just because he's sitting up here, it went up a bit today. Wow. So this guy is kind of a grease monkey.
Good job by you guys battling through adversity. We love to see it on a road trip.
All right. We'll try to get there.
Bryan Christopherson, thanks, BC.
Yep, later.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 247. Look at that.
What's going on there?
Just battling through a little adversity. We love this. That's what you want. If Nebraska takes a punch in the mouth on Saturday, you want to see him like just pop right back up.
Maybe that trip's a metaphor for the game.
Yeah, maybe they're all like the 247 crew is like Ja'Cory Barney. They're the rubber boys. They just pop right back up. Brunt says, I'm not usually a grease guy, but if I got to play a role, I got to play a role. BC, I got to get on the horn. I got to sweet talk these people. That's my role today.
I'll do it.
Good job. Good job by them. Love to see that bounce back from our guys. But we did get a picture from Bruntz who.
Oh.
Did you see the Bruntz tweet? Me in the car when BC is doing his radio appearance with Connor Happer, and it's the Cameron Crazies,
That's right.
Student section with the Virginia guy for the
very topical,
very topical, as Bruntz always is. All right, we will be back. Josh has the odd news. We still have plenty of things to get into, including a history lesson. Rule versus ranked. Things of that nature. Plenty to come on a Friday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
That's right, Josh. It's time for the odd news. I love news. I love when it's odd.
Well, then you'll love what we've got in the hopper for you today.
Okay. What's in there?
Well, let me tell
Stop
you.
making noises, Josh.
I just like the song so much. I wanted to let it play out. We go to baseball from last night. A lot of celebrities in attendance.
all wearing their blank shirts.
Well, not necessarily. Magic Johnson was there. He, while, yes, a celebrity, is also part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Most people go to a ball game. They have the nachos. They have the peanuts. They have the Cracker Jacks. Not Magic Johnson. He's built different.
What's he get?
Well, funny you ask that. Nobody really knows what he was eating last night.
What?
The former Lakers superstar, now part owner of the Dodgers, was at Citi Field last night. He's a different dude. People were trying to figure out what he was eating. It was a bowl of something.
Really?
And he was pouring another bowl of something on top. So I don't know, was he eating like
really
ramen at the game, like a big bowl of ramen? Fans were left guessing, trying to figure out what it was. Magic clearly enjoying it. He had a huge smile on his face. It might have been because the Dodgers were working their way to a 10-2 win and yet another easy victory over the New York Metropolitans.
What is he eating?
I don't know.
This is funny. So the still shot is, it looks like he's got a bowl. Maybe there's some rice in there, and he's pouring contents from another bowl. He's spooning contents from another bowl onto the bigger bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means, but New York, I don't know what they're eating in New York and LA.
Yeah.
Not anything I'm familiar with.
Also in attendance last night was
ScarJo.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson, and she wore a hat from the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
That must mean she's a Met fan, right?
The Met.
Yeah.
That's what her hat said.
So she's not a fan of the Mets. She's a fan of the Met.
The Met, singular. I suspect.
Nice job, ScarJo. They took out Colin Jost. Colin Jost got a shout out right next to her because they are wed. They are together. She was on Fox, and yet this TMZ roundup only had ScarJo. No Colin Jost. Hey, Jost.
I have a theory.
Oh, interesting.
Do you think when they were getting ready to go to the game,
we love Colin Jost,
Scarlett Johansson said, "Hey, honey, what should I wear to the game? Like, I need a baseball hat, but I don't have a baseball hat. What hat should I wear?" And he said, "Wear your Met hat. It'll be funny."
Maybe. I thought you were going to go a different direction with that because I think those two are pretty, they're pretty plugged in, right? They don't live in their own bubble maybe as much as some celebrities.
Okay, sure.
So they're the type of people who go to a baseball game and dress as if they're going to a baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they know what's going on. They don't go to the baseball game just to be seen. They probably just wanted to go to the baseball game.
Right. I would agree with that.
All right. Which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I like those two. That's a good couple.
They can stay.
Are you in on them?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, good.
It's weird.
Not as in as I am on Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld.
Those are your boos.
Those are that is my favorite couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Those are two great people.
Earlier this week, we brought you the story of a squirrel causing a power outage in Lincoln.
That's right. We did. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. I believe this is somewhere out east, like Jersey. JCP&L, I believe that's the power company in this Jersey community.
Okay.
Says that a squirrel came into contact with equipment near a substation, causing a power outage to 13,000 customers. And were left in the dark last night in Monmouth County, all because of a squirrel who met his untimely demise.
Yeah, it's tough.
This does confirm the squirrel is dead, unlike those cowards in Lincoln.
Yeah, they did not report on the squirrel's life.
They say the squirrel left a blown insulator and a damaged disc, leaving thousands in the dark. Energy company workers were able to find the squirrel's remains.
Do we need to start making these things more like squirrel proof? Like areas that squirrels that like you make it detrimental for the squirrel to go in there because this is now happening. This is a bit of a trend now, and it's
many would argue it was very detrimental for that squirrel to go in there.
Well, but like making it known that it would be detrimental to the squirrel if they do go in there.
Like hang a sign.
Or would that just make it more likely that they do go in there? I don't know.
I don't know if there's like something you can sprinkle that's keeps the wildlife away.
Like when the rabbits go into my yard, when I take measures to keep the rabbits out of the yard, they get in afterwards and it feels like they enjoy it more.
Oh, okay.
Because they're in the, and then they're staying, because they have a hard time getting out to the fences and things of that nature. I just, need to teach these squirrels.
Power went off at 9:30, was restored by 1:30.
That's good.
Second time this has happened in the area. Back in August, a different squirrel caused 11,000 customers to go without power for a brief stretch.
Too big of a disruption.
Yeah, that grid is too big. Please turn it into 4 smaller grids.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible, but please look into it.
Yeah.
Finally, this story was sent to me by frequent emailer John, no H.
All right.
We go to Germany.
We usually do.
Fire broke out early yesterday morning at the Stedtallendorf fire station in Hesse and destroyed, among many other things, a fire station and a dozen emergency vehicles. Very sad story. German news agency reports initial damage between 21 to 26 million American dollars.
Jeez.
No one was injured, but how could such a thing happen?
Yep. How the fire start? I know there's something in here.
How could a German firehouse start on fire? Well,
somebody okay, can I guess?
Okay, please.
Something in the microwave. Chimichanga.
Well,
chimichanga in the microwave. That's my official guess.
Eat a lot of chimichangas in Germany, do they?
You go to the store, you see the frozen chimichangas. You throw it in there, you got to go stop the fire elsewhere, and all of a sudden your chimichanga is blowing up.
Well, the fire broke out in an emergency vehicle belonging to the fire department, which contained lithium-ion batteries and an external power connection. So, chalk one, not one up for the lib machines.
Yikes.
But there was no fire alarm in the building.
No fire alarm at the firehouse.
That's right, Connor.
Okay.
Local officials.
Wait, did you say a lib machine caught on fire?
Yes.
The lawnmower?
A lib fire truck.
Oh, a lib fire truck.
A lib emergency vehicle of some kind.
It's battery?
Yeah. Yeah, it's battery caught fire.
Wow, this is a double whammy.
Yeah.
We get to make fun of Germany and libs.
Local officials said no fire alarm system was installed in the building because experts had considered it not necessary, much to the astonishment of many now that the station has burned to the ground.
Dear God.
The station opened less than a year ago.
Oh, my. Yeah. I mean, so, like America. In America,
number one.
America is number one. Love it or leave it. And in America, you actually can't have a building unless it has fire alarms.
Right. That's a good rule.
I like it. I think that makes sense.
The fire chief lamented the fact that the fire spread very, very quickly because of the lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah. Burnt to a crisp, huh? All right, from the text line, here's Jason Siegel, mispronouncer.
Hi, Jason Siegel, mispronouncer.
Connor starting to sound like the lady at the city council meeting arguing for the deer crossing sign to be moved because it, quote, wasn't a good place for them to cross. Just saying, you got to teach these squirrels a lesson. That's all. Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. It was odd indeed. All right, coming up in the noon hour, We'll get you a little history lesson. We'll dive in on rule versus ranked. We still have to talk about Tony Bennett as well. I doubt that we're going to talk to Sipple, but I'll leave it in there. You know,
we will call him. We will continue to tell you he'll be on the show.
We'll call him, but I don't get your hopes up. I guess that would be my advice to you all. And a streak breaker. All before Keys and Peas in the 1 o'clock hour. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Ticklish underpants. Here's Dan on the text line.
Hello, Dan.
Can fake Sipple leave a message for real Sipple pretending to be Sipple from the future, warning him not to eat the Mexican food the night before the game?
Whoa.
Pretty meta.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny, though. If we got his voicemail again and we called live on the air and it was fake Sipple saying, hey, this is you from this. Whatever. When was that? Like probably beginning of August or something like that. Yeah. He was on a road trip. Hey, it's you from August. I'm in a hotel bed right now, losing my large intestine, and I have a piece of advice. Don't eat the cold chicken. It's not a specialty item in whatever country you think it is. It's just cold chicken. Thanks. Bye. God bless you. Goodbye. It's possibly a good idea.
Incredible.
Possibly a good idea. Jim writes in, did Sipple lose his luggage again? Well, we don't know. We don't know. We will call.
We don't know if he brought it.
We don't know anything about his whereabouts. I wish I knew.
They got everything you need at Target.
Actually, you know what? The person to contact would be Robin.
Okay.
I should text Robin and just see what their situation is.
What's the deal?
Yeah.
What are our chances?
Is Sipple going to be available to talk?
Don't ask him
at 12:30.
Don't ask him. I just want your opinion on his availability.
Yeah, what do you think? Give me a percentage. Maybe I will ask. That's kind of funny, actually. All right. So people are making a big deal about rule versus ranked.
He's not good, Connor.
No, he's 2-20.
Should probably fire him.
Well, he's only 0-4 at Nebraska. That's actually pretty bad. I can't lie.
It's not great. You're going to want to do better than that.
Would you like to guess, Josh?
Oh.
How many of those 22 games, 20 of which Matt Rule has lost against ranked teams, how many of those 22 games has the Matt Rule coach team been a favorite?
I will guess.
We know one, right? We know one.
Right.
Illinois this year.
Right.
Lost. Losers.
Right. I will guess 6.
Lower.
4.
Lower.
2.
Correct.
Well, we know one of them.
We know one of them.
Okay.
And the other one also happened while I was at Nebraska. It was the Iowa game last year.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I just felt like that's content. So Nebraska's looking to end this streak, and everybody's losing their mind because this guy sucks against ranked opponents. He can't beat ranked teams. There's, for whatever reason, some hex on him.
What was his?
We all agree that they have good football. They have good football teams, but for whatever reason, they just can't beat ranked teams.
What was his record with the Carolina Panthers against ranked teams?
0-0.
Okay.
Never played a ranked team.
Okay.
Played a garbage schedule.
Never had an opportunity.
Played a garbage schedule.
Damn.
They played. So Rule has lost 20 times as just in his college coaching career against ranked teams. Oh, I've received a text from Sipple, by the way.
Oh no.
Hap, no go. ... travel. I figured.
Well,
Thanks,
at least
Dad.
we know.
Thanks, Dad. Now we won't even call. As sad as that becomes.
Yeah.
I said, I figured, thanks, Dad. He probably, because this message is not even being delivered right now, he probably went directly into airplane mode after he sent that.
Definitely.
So he'll get this when he lands wherever he's going.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
I love the way that tickles him just right.
Okay. All right. All right. So 22 games against ranked opponents, 20 of which Matt Rule teams have lost. This will be game number 23 this weekend against Indiana. I think there are 2 or 3 in here where the Rule coach team was also a ranked team. Most of them took place at Baylor. But listen to some of these numbers in which they were like, you could almost throw some of these out the window because number one, in 2013, it was his first year as a head coach and he was at Temple. They won 2 games that year, right? Who the hell expects him to beat a ranked team?
Right.
Nobody.
Not me.
They were 27.5-point underdogs to Notre Dame, 33-point dogs to Louisville, and 17.5-point dogs to UCF.
Those are big dogs.
In 2017, it was his first year at Baylor. I think they went 1-11, maybe 2-10. They were 28-point dogs to Oklahoma, 26-point dogs to Oklahoma State, 10-point dogs to West Virginia, and 24.5-point dogs to TCU. That's 7 games right there.
Big dog.
Big dog. That's 7 games right there where he's in his first year at Temple and Baylor and he's taking over complete disasters. Mm-hmm. And I just forgive me.
Just getting wrecked.
I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but that seems pretty forgivable.
It is.
That seems pretty forgivable.
Different than what is ahead of him tomorrow.
Correct. Now, with that being said, they're still touchdown underdogs tomorrow. It is different than, hell, even in his first year at Nebraska, they lost to Colorado. They were 2.5-point underdogs, but that game was winnable, right? You count that against it. Like, I just wanted to add the context here. The Michigan game. They got blasted. They never had a chance. That team won the national championship. They weren't winning, right? It's his first year at Nebraska. I'm just more likely to throw that out the window. Where it does get concerning is later on in the tenure, right? So we're talking about year three at Baylor, 2019. They went to the conference championship game. They're 10.5-point underdogs to Oklahoma. They lose. They're 9-point dogs to Oklahoma in the conference championship game. They lose. I think they covered in both of those games. And then they lost to Georgia as an underdog in the bowl game. Those are all against ranked teams. In 2014, his second year at Temple, they beat a ranked team. And in 2016, his fourth and final year at Temple, they played a ranked Navy team in the conference championship game and won. Those were
he beat the troops.
He beat the troops, and he has very little respect for them. But some of these are just gigantic 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown underdog spreads in his first and second year at places, and he would admit to you, like, we weren't ready to do that. We weren't ready to go into those environments and win those games. And so I feel like when you throw out the stat like, hey, I'm a little concerned about this. He's 2-20 against ranked opponents in his career. It just lacks context. It lacks the proper context. Is the record still not as good as you want it to be? Are there some concerning games on here? Sure.
Right.
But also, like, when you get it down to the real stuff that matters, the real games that matter, we're talking about conference championship games. We're talking about games against, in the second year or third year at Baylor, or in the fourth year at Temple, like where they're competing and they're in these games and stuff like that. They either won them or they were covering in those games and lost as a ranked team to a ranked team. I don't know how much shame there is in those type of ideas. Like, for example, the Oklahoma games that I mentioned in 2019, Oklahoma was number 10 in the country. Baylor was number 12 in the country the first time that they played, and they lost by 3. What's the shame in that? It's not that
losing.
It's not they can't beat a ranked team. It's just they were in a really good game and they lost it. They were also 10.5-point underdogs in that game. They lost by a touchdown to Oklahoma in the conference championship game. Oklahoma was the number 6 team in the country. They lost to Georgia in the bowl game. They lost by 12, and Georgia was the number 5 team in the country at that point. So, like, you have to kind of pick it apart game by game. Jeremy asked on the Twitter, the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Hi, Jeremy.
How many of those games did he cover? I could go through because I have the whole Matt Rule coaching game log right here. So, Josh, if you want to count along with me here, we could play that game. I wish I had the numbers more readily available for you. So we're talking about ATS against ranked.
Okay.
For Rule. All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready to count.
Covered against Notre Dame in his first one.
Boom. 1-0.
Covered against Louisville in his second one.
Boom. 2-0.
Covered
coach.
Covered against UCF in his third one. Man. Won and covered against UCF against ECU in his fourth one. Covered against Notre Dame in his fifth.
This guy covers against Notre Dame.
This guy covers against Notre Dame. Did not cover against Houston in a conference championship game. Lost by 11. Were 4.5-point dogs. Did not cover.
Sad.
In 2015. 2016 conference championship game. Won and covered against Navy.
Disrespectful.
2017 Baylor. Wow. Here's a good one. So they're 28-point underdogs. They're 4-touchdown underdogs. And Matt Rule's fourth game at taking over disaster Baylor. Playing number 3 Oklahoma. Lost by a touchdown. Covered. Oklahoma State's number 14 team got absolutely crushed. Did not cover. So that's his second not cover, Josh.
Yeah.
West Virginia did cover that year. TCU did cover that year. This guy's got a track record, huh? 2018, Oklahoma did not cover. Texas did. West Virginia did not. Iowa State did. Sorry, there's only 2 more years of this left, I promise.
Okay.
2019, Oklahoma game did cover, yes. Oklahoma game part 2 did cover, yes. Georgia game, bowl game did not cover. 2023 at Nebraska did not cover against Colorado, did not cover against Michigan, and did not cover against Iowa. So far this year, played 1 ranked team. It was Illinois, did not cover. So what? 4 of his
9
non-covers have been at Nebraska.
He's never covered at Nebraska
against a ranked team.
13-9.
Yeah. So that tells a little bit. That tells a little bit of a different story than he's 2-20 against ranked teams. You know, like that's not more important than winning or losing, but it adds more context because in a lot of these games, it's the first and second year at these crap jobs, and he's 4 touchdown underdogs, and he's getting them to play hard, right? So I don't know. I felt like that was notable. The streak of Nebraska playing ranked teams and losing to them goes back to the Oregon game. Still goes back to the Oregon game in 2016. They have not won since then. Winning against a top 25 team on the road, I believe that goes back to 2011, Josh.
That Nebraska
has not beaten a ranked team on the road since 2011.
Wow.
So I have my ranked versus ranked here when I did this for the Illinois game. My ranked versus ranked document as it loads up. So, oh gosh, I don't have the locations of this game. Yeah, it would probably be the Penn State game in 2011. Almost 13 years ago that they beaten a ranked team on the road. So that streak has an opportunity to come to an end. The rule versus ranked thing narrative has a potential to be shooken. And of course, your guys' favorite thing, the bowl drought.
Oh, yeah.
People forget about the bowl drought.
6.
Where are we meeting? 72nd and Dodge?
114th and Dodge under the overpass.
114th and Dodge under the overpass. Wherever you guys want to go. That McDonald's right there? Is that a good spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Dairy Queen. Right there in the corner. That's a lot of streaks, Josh, that could be ending tomorrow against Indiana.
Stay tuned for predictions.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
I have more streaks. I think Nebraska will end.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to throw that out there right now, or you're going to hold it?
I'm going to hold it.
What's up with the media and holding stuff, Josh?
What would you like me to?
Yeah, bust it out. Bust it out.
Gosh, I don't know.
You can repeat it later.
Seems like a real tight game. Be a shame if it went to overtime.
Oh no!
Nebraska kicked a field goal to win the game.
Okay, now this would be the ultimate narrative breaker.
I know, Connor.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
That's not the lights messing.
Are you
up,
putting
I'm
on the
sorry.
screen?
Yeah.
Are you putting something on the screen?
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says Nebraska 38, Indiana 35 in overtime.
Nebraska 38, Indiana 35 in overtime as they make a field goal in overtime.
Yeah.
Do they get a first down?
That's a good question. Yes,
because we are coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Nebraska last getting a first down in overtime.
Why not?
Wow. Oh, boy. People would be on the wagon if they found a way to do all those things.
All in just one fail swoop.
That's the kind of day that Nebraska fans need, for sure.
I agree, Connor.
Platt Cat has a meeting spot for us. Grand China Buffet, 114th and Dodge.
It's right there.
If Nebraska gets to a bowl game. A couple comments from you guys before we get to a history lesson here.
Hibachi for everyone.
That's a big old China buffet.
It is.
That is a big old China buffet.
There are mall food courts smaller than that Grand China buffet.
They have. That's one of the China buffets too. I think it's the only China buffet that I've ever been to that has natural light.
Oh yeah,
It's got natural light coming in.
Yeah.
Usually those places are dark.
On purpose.
Purposefully. Yeah. You're like, how long have I been in here? 6 hours?
There's no clocks on the wall.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
I get there's context, but the record is awful. The record is indeed awful.
Yeah,
there's no arguing that.
I think we need to be a little clearer on that because it does sound like we were like, well, Matt Rule's pretty good against ranked teams, guys. The record isn't. I mean, he's actually worse at Nebraska than other places.
Yeah, but it was year one, right?
It was year one, except for against Illinois. But that was an overtime game.
That was an overtime game, so you're subject to all the bad things that happened to you there.
Yeah,
no,
Jeff,
Jeff,
it's a different hex.
You're right. You're right, Jeff. It's a bad record, that's for sure. But like I just feel like it's a little overkill to go down the road of this guy can't beat ranked teams.
I don't know that he's ever had the horses. Oh God, what? I thought there was a bug on me.
You spilling something?
Nope.
There has been one bug that has just been kind of crawling around in here, hanging out.
It
with
was
us.
my microphone cord my headphone cord that touched me. I'm sorry.
Here is Cody.
Hi, Cody.
Poll question: do you remember that Michigan won the national title last year? Do we do that? Because I remember that.
I remember that.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's just a Cody poll question inside of his own.
Only because of the cheating. Do I remember that? Not.
I remember. Why not Hoiberg texts in?
Hi, why not Hoiberg?
Josh, in response to Josh's bold prediction.
That's right. I went on a limb.
Why not Hoiberg says, I see Josh has started One Beer Friday a little early.
Whoa.
Yeah, Josh, you on the sauce?
Whoa.
Predicting points in overtime and wins?
I put on for my city and state.
And he wants to meet at Grand China Buffet at 114th and Dodge.
That's right. I want to see all of you there. Eating the sushi, eating the hibachi, digging into those crab legs.
Mad Piper says it wasn't Matt Rule who turned the ball over all those times last season.
Yeah.
Although he was certainly coaching at that time. By the way, we're looking forward to Jeff Sims, the return of Jeff Sims, return of the Sims.
I've got that plugged into my viewing schedule this weekend.
That's exciting. Kevin emails in.
Hello, Kevin.
Kevin says, I was having a good day until I was reminded how bad the Huskers have been in games against ranked teams. People forget that Indiana is a ranked team.
Yeah, this isn't your older brother's ranked team. This isn't an Ohio State or a Michigan that's coming to town. This is Indiana.
It's Indiana. Nebraska's a touchdown underdog. It's very within the realm of possibility, inside the standard deviations, ability for Nebraska to win the football game. We'll have more on that, of course, in the 1 o'clock hour in our keys and predictions. Let's take a little time out here. Let's go to a history lesson next. Who would you guess, Josh, all-time leads the series between Nebraska and Indiana? Nebraska has been a historically relevant program. Indiana has been a basketball program.
Oh, gosh. I would just say Nebraska, but the way you framed the question makes me think that Indiana actually leads
I
the
wonder
series.
if I've tied Josh's brain into a pretzel. We'll find out if he's right on the other side on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Don't forget our Keys and Peas coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. That is Keys to the Game and predictions for the weekend. Also coming up here in just a little bit, Josh will tell you all who is on Pumpkin Watch this weekend.
Pumpkin Watch.
And we still have to talk about Tony Bennett for a few minutes as well.
I love talking about
the
singers.
Not the singer. Not the singer. The driving crooner. Oh yeah, and we haven't talked about Mr. Yogurt updating us on Big Stadium project. Big Stadium. All right, history lesson first. Nebraska and Indiana series history. Josh, it might surprise you to learn that the Indiana Hoosiers lead the all-time series with the Huskers.
Oh, really?
10-9-3. 3 ties. 3 ties. They last tied 20-20, by the way, in 1950. They also had ties in Lincoln in 1938 and in Bloomington in 1939. The game on October 15th, 1938 in Lincoln ended in a 0-0 tie. I'm sure that was a lot of fun for the spectators in attendance. But as we always do, let's go back to the first game. It was in Lincoln, October 17th, 1936. So what is that? 88 years ago yesterday? 2024, 1936. 88 years ago yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 90. Yeah, 88. 88 years ago yesterday. Nebraska took on Indiana for the first time in program history, and they won the game 13-9. Nebraska was coming off of a pretty successful stretch here under Coach Dana X Bible. This would end up being Dana X Bible's final year as the Nebraska head coach.
Sad.
Nebraska got all the way up to number 6 in the rankings.
Couldn't win the big one.
Bible, of course, took the job at Texas the next year and stayed there to 1946. Took Texas all the way to win multiple Cotton Bowls and have a couple one-loss seasons in there as well. A very good college football coach, Dana X Bible. But this was his final year at Nebraska in 1936. Huskers went 7-2 that year before Biff Jones took over the next year. For a few, this is an odd period of time for Nebraska. Basically, they had been a pretty good program all throughout its start within the Missouri Valley Conference and into the Big Six, and then as we got later into the 30s and into the 40s, Nebraska was in the wilderness a little bit, all the way until really Bob Devaney showed up in the 60s.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. So the two teams played each other. Both in Lincoln in 1936 and 1937. Nebraska won both of those games. Nebraska made their first trip to Bloomington in 1939 and tied the Hoosiers 7-7. Then Indiana went on a run. Indiana did not lose a game to Nebraska from 1941 until 1975.
What?
Yeah. It was at that point, of course, Nebraska had started to become a program of national prominence and went on a nice little run against the Hoosiers. That is, of course, until the two teams joined up in the same league again in 2011. But as we recall, I remember this being a storyline at the time when they played each other in 2016. I believe Indiana was the final opponent that Nebraska had not played as a member of the Big 12, the Big 10 conference yet.
Oh.
And it took them 6 seasons to do so. They didn't play them until October 15th of 2016. Of course, Nebraska was 6-0 going into that game. There was a lot on the line for them. They won in kind of an ugly, sloppy one late on a long Stanley Morgan play. They won 27-22 in that game in 2016. Then Indiana came here in 2019, and there was a lot of questions. I believe Adrian Martinez was hurt, and they had to end up starting Noah Vedral in the game. There was the whole drama with him and whether he was going to be able to have his red shirt or not. Indiana was triggered about something. Did we ever get to the bottom of what Indiana was triggered about?
Never.
Somebody made a comment. I think it was Frost, shockingly. I think Frost made a comment about how, maybe they were going into like a lighter portion of their schedule or something. He was known for sticking his foot in his mouth. You
don't say.
In specifically that context throughout his career at Nebraska. Purdue and Indiana both notably got triggered at him and the entire Nebraska program, and they took it out on Nebraska that day. Nebraska wore their black uniforms in October of 2019 and lost the game to the Hoosiers 38-31. And then Nebraska, man, you want to talk about a game that I don't remember at all. And it was 2 years ago. The last time Nebraska played Indiana. You remember that game, Josh?
No.
In 2022? 2022 for a variety of different reasons is a lost season. But so let me just find it here. Nebraska played Indiana at home after the Oklahoma game. I was there. I remember being there. I don't remember anything about what happened in that game. Nothing. And that's the most recent time these two teams have played, although I will take you through some statistics on it. Nebraska won 35-21. Nebraska quarterback that day, of course, was Casey Thompson, 18 for 27, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Indiana's quarterback, Connor Bazelak, went 22 of 44.
That name rings a bell.
Yeah, he was a guy. Nebraska leading rusher Anthony Grant ran for 136 yards. Also caught a pass out of the backfield. And Nebraska's leading receiver that day was, of course, Trey Palmer.
He's down there somewhere.
8 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. Oliver Martin caught a touchdown in that game as well. That is, none of it rings a bell to me, Josh. None of it at all. There's your Nebraska and Indiana history lesson. I probably know more about the game that happened in 1936 than I do about the game that happened right now, that two years ago.
Now, do we know if these guys went to any theater shows?
I wasn't able to find
New York, no Indy Star write-ups from the 30s.
I was not able to find a good newspaper article from Nebraska's trip or Indiana's trip to Nebraska in 1936. But there is, and this is what really got me going on this a couple of weeks ago when Nebraska played Rutgers. There is there's a website that is basically doing what we're doing on this show. Like they're taking, all right, here's Nebraska's opponent this week, and here's the first time they ever played. Right. And they're doing a little write-up on it every week. So shout out to the folks at omahaexploration.com.
Oh.
An exploration of Omaha's past, present, and future. Who are, and they have some good clips of whether it's newspaper articles or like, I think this is from Nebraska's program. They have a cut of Dana X Bible's dream backfield, and they have the classic pictures of the dudes who were posing for football pictures, and you would kind of hunch over and you'd put your elbows on your knees and, look tough. And those dudes had sweet hair back then as well. John Howell, Lloyd Cardwell, Sam Francis, Ron Douglas. Those are the dudes in the backfield. Here's what it says in the picture. This 1936 backfield, 3 seniors and 1 junior, represented the culmination of Dana Bible's 8 years at Nebraska and embodied all his desires in speed, power, finesse, and offensive defensive ability. Headed by All-American Sam Francis and the amazing Lloyd Cardwell, the only man whom old-timers declare is worthy to rank with Bender and Chamberlain. The Huskers of 36 cleaned up all conference opposition without being scored upon. They lost to only the nation's number 1 and number 2 teams, Pittsburgh and Minnesota, and could have won these with adequate reserves.
Does Lloyd Cardwell look like a guy with the Patrick Mahomes haircut?
Does Lloyd Cardwell look like Dylan Raiola?
No.
Is that what you're asking?
Lloyd has the Patrick Mahomes haircut.
I don't think. I don't think he has a mullet.
That floppy mop top.
I don't think they were doing mullets in 1936, Josh, especially not for the Yearbook magazine.
Well, okay. Poll question. Were they doing mullets in 1936?
The answer is no, for the record. Chris in Montana writes in about the whole thing from the 2019 game between Nebraska and Indiana. Chris Montana says whatever it was, Tom Allen was pissed. He was. I mean, their AD was pissed too.
Okay.
Their fan base was triggered. They were so angry. And like, I get it. You know, Frost did not have a. He meant what he said, probably whatever he said, but he didn't mean it for it to come off the way it came off. But of course it did, because it always did.
In September 2022, Tom Allen, then the head coach of Indiana.
No, we're looking at we want the 19 game.
19?
We want the 19
okay.
game. But what were you going to say about that?
Met with the media to share his final public thoughts on Nebraska. A former Nebraska football assistant also criticized Allen on a radio show.
What?
That's all it says.
A former Nebraska assistant criticized him on a radio show?
Yeah.
Imagine that drama on a radio show.
Never happened before, won't happen again.
Could not be me. Chance writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Chance.
This will be Husker. It's the GIF of Andy Dufresne getting out of the tunnel of crap. This will be Husker Nation before heading to the old Grand China Buffet if Josh's game predictions come true and all the streaks are broken.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be you guys tomorrow.
Do you think people will head to Grand China Buffet?
I think we've mentioned it enough now. People are hankering. Yeah, I could go for some crab legs.
So, hey, 3:00 in the afternoon, you had a couple brewskis in you or something like that. I don't see any problem with it.
Not at all.
I don't see any problem with it. Get some crab rangoons. I love crab rangoons,
Hell
Josh. Yeah. Also, we got a tweet earlier that from Jordan. A young Lee Corso was the coach in 1936. Hashtag old ass Corso. He was not, for the record. He was not.
Just an assistant, just a coordinator.
He was. When did Lee Corso take over at Indiana? Lee Corso took over as the Indiana head coach in 1973. Just a few years after 1936.
He was born in 35.
There you go. He wasn't coaching Indiana as a 1-year-old. That's for sure.
He could have, though.
I'm sure he could have. Guy's got passion. They tell this story. So when you play Indiana on the new college football video game, Josh, they tell this story about Corso. I think whoever the broadcast, Reese Davis and David Pollock, whatever, about how when a Corso led Indiana team was playing Ohio State in whatever, one of the years he was there. They had grabbed like an early lead on Ohio State, and he stopped the game and took everybody out into the middle of the field to take a picture of them and the scoreboard and said, "Look, Indiana is beating Ohio State," and then saved the picture forever and ever. He also said he slept with the old oaken bucket.
Oh, okay.
Like slept in the same bed as it.
Okay.
Slept with the old oaken bucket. That's how much the bucket means.
Yeah. Okay.
Text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
Frost said something about wanting to play easy teams like Indiana instead of Ohio State all the time. That is right. He was really triggered about the schedule, leading to, of course, eventually him trying to get the Oklahoma game canceled. We should have known.
All the signs were there.
Yeah, James writes in. He says, wasn't Indiana upset because Frost whined about playing Ohio State and Michigan every year and not getting easier games like Indiana? Oh, God. Yeah, I think that was it. All right, there's your history lesson for the week. Our Keys and Peas are coming up in just a little bit. We apologize we will not be joined by Stephen M.Sipple today. He's traveling.
Sad.
He's traveling. Still got a few things to get to, including big stadium update, Tony Bennett retiring at an interesting time, and plenty more on a Friday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Hey, speaking of a history lesson, we're going to get to the phones here in a second. Sam sent us this earlier.
Hello, Sam.
At Happer Show, the J-Tech Constructions on Twitter feed. I got Little Kings for lunch today, and it led me to ask, what is the world's biggest chicken sandwich? Which is a chicken sandwich made in Lebanon that was 2,400 feet and 5 inches long, and the largest, a 5,400-foot-long corned beef sandwich in Michigan. On this journey, I did find out details that nearly 26 years ago to the day, October 22nd, 1988, Creighton students failed to break this record. Next Wednesday, we must celebrate in the face of all Jayskers for their failure and Husker world record superiority. That is right. Creighton, I click on the article, world record easier bread than done.
That's amazing because you know the dimensions, you know the goal.
So
just go bigger than that.
Here was the problem, Josh.
Okay,
it wasn't in the size of the sandwich. A local Subway donated the $12,000 sandwich with the plan to use more than 1,600 feet of bread, 1,500 pounds of ham and turkey, 600 pounds of tomatoes, 600 pounds of onions, 500 pounds of lettuce, and 300 pounds of cheese. But it was foiled by the Nebraska weather. Quote, we had picked a nice day. The breeze was light. The sun was shining. We had the tables and the ingredients set up all over the turf. But then the breeze turned into a gale force.
Oh, no.
Things went south after that. Later, they would recall the incident as, quote, the miracle of flying loaves. Winds more than 45 miles per hour chased the event indoors, trimming the sandwich's length and thwarting Creighton's record attempt. What a pull by Sam. Holy smokes. What a pull. Great job by you.
That was a journey.
Yeah. We need to make note of this and talk about it on Wednesday for sure. Do more research. I'll talk to some people over at Creighton.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what's going on.
Get the inside story.
Before we do that, let's get a phone call here on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Here is Steve. Steve, you're on the show. What's up?
It's Keith.
Keith, I'm sorry.
Josh, it's Keith.
I don't hear so well.
Okay. Josh is an old Keith.
I'm actually in Lebanon right now.
Oh, really?
Lebanon, Missouri.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the Creighton record was too.
They're both foreign countries to me.
Yeah.
I attended a Nebraska Indiana football game in Bloomington.
Okay.
In it's either 76 or 77.
It would 76 they played there and 78 they played there.
Okay, 78. That was the year. And I was a football manager for Ball State University.
Okay.
My father and I drove down from a little town I lived in Indiana called Gas City and attended the game and watched I Am Hip break a run, and he didn't make it to the goal line.
What a memory, Keith. What a memory.
Yeah, it was. The thing about it was Corso had his football show on every Sunday morning, and the big thing that he pushed was they scored. And he would diagram the play that they scored on. I mean, they got mashed, but they scored.
Well, they didn't score much. They didn't score enough in this game, 69-17.
No.
He was just happy that they did not get shut out.
Exactly. And that's the thing that he always pushed.
Keith, well, I Am Hip ran for 123 yards that afternoon. He had a nice day.
Yeah, he had it was mostly on that one run. It was like 70-some yards or something like that, but he didn't make it to the goal line.
He didn't make it all the way there. 28-0 after the first quarter, and that was pretty much it for Nebraska that day.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Great memory, Keith. Thank you.
For a Nebraska fan, it was a good game.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Keith.
Okay. Yep.
So I pull up the all-knowing Husker Max, of course. Nebraska gained 613 yards of total offense. They went to 3-1. A regional ABC audience, and a 42,000 seat crowd or attendance over in Bloomington, watching in the rain.
Oh no!
The Huskers scored touchdowns in their first 4 possessions. M.Sipple, who gained national prominence against Indiana in 1977, scored the first 2 touchdowns for Nebraska. The NUI back raced from 9 yards for the first score and ran in from 6 4 minutes later. The game was decided before the end of the first quarter. Nebraska was leading 28-0. Nebraska added a second quarter touchdown, 2 in the third quarter, 3 more in the final to make it 69-17. ABC named M.Sipple the player of the game, 123 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Hell yeah.
Tim Worth, a second-team Husker, also contributed 2 touchdowns as he gained 95 yards. And Tom Sorley continued his fine passing attack, completing 8 for 168 yards.
Hell yeah. 8 completed passes. What a time.
That's a day. Dylan will go over that tomorrow, I think.
He damn well better.
And so will Curtis Rourke. They'll be Rourking it.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure if he'll get 8.
John emails in, is Keith Random Mike's brother?
Little bit.
I like that. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. So that's a good memory. If anybody else wants to share any memories about Nebraska and Indiana, it'd probably be from that period of time. Because once again, they didn't play each other from 79 until 2016.
It's a long time.
It is. But we're on to some other things. Josh, let's talk about Tony Bennett here real quick. So Tony Bennett, not the singer, has been the basketball coach of Virginia, 15 seasons. He's 55 years old, Josh. And up out of nowhere yesterday, he says, I'm done. And Josh, you have thoughts on that?
Seems like just a really odd time. You love your program so much, you're so loyal to them, but
do you buy
when it comes time for you to, suck up the guts and the courage to coach another year, you suddenly are like, I don't know, seems like a lot of work.
Do you buy the I just really don't like where college basketball is?
No, not for a second.
Now? I fully believe that he thinks that.
Yeah, right? Yes,
but
I do agree those are his beliefs, but that is not the reason for his retirement.
Does that make you get up in October, 2 weeks into camp or a week into camp? The season starts literally next week. You probably have an exhibition coming up like this weekend for next weekend, right? Does that make you, you're just coming to this? God, I hate this so much. I just can't do it anymore. He had a press conference today. He sort of reiterated some of these thoughts. This is a guy who brought Virginia's basketball program to prominence, leading them to a national championship. And then I've seen a lot of people dunking on Tony B over the last 24 hours here. Yes, he was indeed the first coach to lose as a 1 seed to a 16 seed.
People forget.
And yes, indeed, his final game in the NCAA tournament was a game in which his team scored 46 points against Colorado State.
High offensive output day for them. Just the absolute worst brand of basketball. I understand
it is a tough watch.
He won a national title. Like, I understand it won him some games.
He's a great guy. He is a visionary in the sport.
I'm not prepared to say he's a great guy. I don't know why he's leaving abruptly.
Okay, he's a visionary of the sport, right? He found an incredible path to win in an era that was mostly surrounded by teams just being really efficient and scoring hundreds and hundreds of points.
He zagged.
Absolutely. And took advantage of that and sent a whole bunch of guys to the NBA, and so it makes it even more interesting why he would just hang it up just 2 weeks before the season starts. 2 weeks before the season starts. Here's my guess.
Okay.
Here's my guess. This is a pretty sure way to make sure that your guy gets the job.
Okay. Hey, we're in a little bit of a pickle.
Yep. What's that? I got one for you.
Tony said you could help us out. Can you help us out?
That would be associate head coach Ron Sanchez, who spent 5 seasons as the head coach at Charlotte before returning to Charlottesville ahead of last season. Also as associate head coach Jason Williford. He has been by Bennett's side during his tenure at Virginia. Here is Tony Bennett last week to Jeff Borzello of ESPN.com. This was at ACC Media Day. He was asked why there is a perception he could be the next Jay Wright and abruptly retire while still in his prime.
This was a question that was asked of him?
This was a question that was asked of him last week.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know where that comes. I'm not tied into the Virginia rumors these days.
That's got to be a guy who knew something, right?
I would imagine so.
Had a tip.
Here's the quote. I got to call Jay Wright and see what he says, right? I've always said when you're doing this, you're in this profession, whether you agree how it's going or not, you have to be true to yourself and really look at it and say, who am I? Can I operate how I want? And can it be successful enough? And you get to choose if you want to be a part of it or not. And when you feel like it's time, like Jay did, like Coach K, like maybe Nick Saban, it's their choice. And you could sit here and complain and gripe, or you could have a decision to make. Either you try to do it in your way, and you get to make that decision. So I think Jay Wright probably foresaw where this is going. It'll be better whenever there's regulations. Is that 3 to 5 years away? Who knows? But if it's not, those are decisions that every man has to make when it's time. Weird quote. Because for a second, I kind of thought he was talking about like, hey, every man has its time and you want to do it on your own terms. You don't want to be told when. I thought that was like performance based. That sounded like it was like they're going to tell me to quit. You know, they're going to tell me to get out of here if I keep sucking for a couple of years.
And now knowing what we know about today's press conference, boy, all those coaches, Jay, Coach K, and Saban, boy, they sure hated NIL.
Yeah. And Tony Bennett does too. He literally cited the state of the game for his retirement. He said in his press conference today, the hardest thing to say is when I looked at myself and I realized I'm no longer the best coach to lead this program in this current environment. If you're going to do it, you got to be all in. If you do it half-hearted, it's not fair to the university and those young men. So in looking at it, that's what made me step down. I think it's right for student athletes to receive revenue. Please don't mistake me. The game in college athletics is not in a healthy spot. It's not. And there needs to be change. It's not going to go back. I think I was equipped to do the job here the old way. That's who I am.
Okay.
So he's out. And so what he said in his quote about Jay Wright that I just read was like, okay, there's going to be some regulations. There's going to be something that changes here. Am I going to wait along to see how long it takes to get there? And am I going to like it when it does get here? Or should I just get out now while I'm ahead? I'm 55 years old. I got a family. I've made my money. I'm loved. I won a national championship. Let's just be done. And I don't want to make myself miserable anymore. You're just seeing more and more coaches do this. And every time it usually is about this. It usually is about this. It's driving coaches away because they have had so much success doing something their way for a long time and just aren't really interested in adapting to the next thing. Now, different strokes for different folks, right? Some coaches adapt. Some old head type of coaches say, I think there's a way that we can still do it our way and still compete and be a new age program that does well in NIL and competes in that space as well. You don't just have to get in bidding wars for basketball players or football players and pretend like that's the only way to do it. That's not a healthy way to look at it, and that's a way oversimplified version of how college basketball and college athletics works right now. It's just way oversimplified. It doesn't have to be the case. Creighton is a successful basketball program. It doesn't have nearly the resources that every Power 5 job in the country, high major job in the country probably has. But it does things its way. And if it gets into bidding wars with players, it probably loses.
Sure.
But they think that their culture is that they think that their culture trumps all of that. And guess what? They've been right for a long time. And it's not just Creighton basketball. It's Creighton volleyball. It's Creighton women's basketball. Like, those three coaches are incredible.
Also, probably very hard to.
And by the way, I'm sure that they feel, sorry, Josh.
No, go ahead.
I bet they feel that it's really difficult to compete in this new space too, but they still believe in what they're doing. And they believe that there's people out there who will believe in that. Sorry.
He's probably also finding it very difficult to find his type of player.
Sure.
More and more. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of kids think they're Steph Curry. Tony Bennett.
What's that? I can't shoot.
Not interested in the Steph Currys of the world.
Yeah.
Interested more of the Draymond Greens of the world.
Yeah. I wonder what a guy like, Isaac Trout would, what his thought on this would be, who played at Virginia for a year. I remember he came back last year, it had been in the works that he was going to be transferring out of that program for quite some time during his one season there. And,
you're broken up about this, Connor.
No, sorry, popcorn in my throat. And so I like, and then as far as like the shape that he was in, he was a much bigger version of himself than it just seemed like he wasn't a terribly confident guy, coming into last year. And now you hear the reports on a guy like Isaac Trout, who's been in the Creighton program for a year, and it's like, wow, he's in great shape. He's shooting it really well. He feels like he's found a role. Feels like he's found his voice a little bit. You could still empower, so there's an area where you could still do this really well, and it doesn't just have to be a bidding war all the time. But if you want to make it out to be that and be the boogeyman and that be the boogeyman and just leave the sport, then that's fine too. You've won your championships and you got the right to do that.
You could also, I don't know, just walk away and not bitch on your way out the door.
Yeah. You could. You got that option as well. But people want to know why, Josh, and this is why, and he's telling people why.
Now you ask the question why, I guess I'll tell you why.
And you know what's going to happen now. He's going to get a TV job, and he's going to go on TV. He's going to tell people why all the time.
All the time.
All the time. All right, we'll come back. Keys and Peas for the weekend. Our keys to Nebraska beating Indiana. Oh, boy, Josh. This is it. This is where the rubber meets the road.
This is how it's going to happen. We're going to tell you.
Did I name my keys fun things this week?
I would assume so. Did you name them after Tony Bennett songs?
I did not.
Don't leave your heart in San Francisco.
I didn't get around to that.
If only a player on Nebraska had recently been to San Francisco.
Oh, hey, he was just on a flight to San Francisco.
Yeah.
We don't know where he was going. Maybe he was just connecting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll be starting on Saturday for Nebraska. Who knows? Back after this on 1620 The Zone. We got a text here from Chris in Montana.
Hello, Chris in Montana.
He says, obviously, it's way down the list of topics with huge Husker game and night game with Texas and Georgia, but it is the Battle of the Dakotas tomorrow night on ESPN2, aka the Dakota Marker game. It's 2 versus 1, and I'm sure some local talent will be highlighted, maybe worth a quick shout. I know I'll probably check into it and catch the ending, especially if the Texas and Georgia game ends early or is non-competitive. Well, guess what, Chris? We will pick it. It is one of our biggest games of the week. We will pick it in our pick segment coming up in just a few minutes. The Barstool folks have announced that they will be at Indiana University just outside of the stadium to do their very cool and fun football show tomorrow morning. If you're headed out there, it starts at
God, they have a show
10:30 Eastern time. I would assume so where do they put this? Yeah, do they just stream it on Twitter or like YouTube?
Probably. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's probably enough.
Yeah, that's
right.
I'm sure they get some good
Do
stuff.
we need to be doing this?
Do we need a pregame show?
Yeah. Do we need a 2-hour college football pregame show from a location?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd love to.
You would love to do it. Okay, great.
Also, sometimes we're busy.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we're busy, Josh. So you can just watch the Barstool one.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll have the
theirs.
hard-hitting analysis.
They'll be eating pizza and looking at boobs or something. I don't know.
I'm sure Dave Portnoy knows a lot.
Yeah. He can tell you everything you need to know about Boston College losing last
No,
night.
I think he likes Michigan.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, here we go. Our keys to we need to not annoy the Barstool people probably because they come after you. All right, keys and P's, Josh. Keys to the game this weekend, Nebraska and Indiana. Speaking of annoying, key number 1 for me is annoyance.
Wow, what a segue!
Annoyance. So, the word annoying is actually important here. I think Nebraska needs to be annoying with how they're executing in this game. You know when you play Iowa, Josh, and you're like, God, they're just never in the wrong spot. Whenever I feel like the hole is opened up for me to gain 4 yards, I gain exactly 4 yards, and that's it. You just have to earn everything. They're not going to give you nothing, right? That needs to be Nebraska on Saturday. Little kid just keeps waking you up from that nap. You're just dozing off. You're almost there. Hey! Josh, you have any experience with this?
Yes, quite a bit.
As a person who likes to doze off?
I am the best in the world at dad naps.
So
I understand you might think you're the best in the world. You're not.
Oh, I don't think I am. I think you got that. I don't know if people, maybe that's a world record that we need to have out one day or something like that. But how Nebraska's in lanes on defense, they're not allowing big plays, they're not missing tackles, making Indiana have to run a bunch of plays to get the yards they desire. Indiana is in the middle of the pack in terms of how many plays they run a game, right? Why? Their offense is so good and so efficient. That's exactly why. They usually score before they get too deep into a drive. They are not required. They have not been asked to work really much this year for how they get their points. They haven't had to earn it yet on offense. So they're going to throw a lot of RPO at Nebraska. Not necessarily so much play action like it was against Illinois, although Illinois got Nebraska in the RPO game. Discipline in the RPO game, right? Are you in the right place? Do you make the quarterback make the wrong read? Do you disguise some things? And then, of course, not allowing the big plays. I would like to see Nebraska get Indiana to the point where they are frustrated, right? I want to see visual signs of that frustration via Nebraska's annoyance, right? If they get frustrated, then you have them. Nebraska frustrated Colorado last year. Nebraska obviously frustrated Colorado this year. And those are the comparable games, I think, to this situation, just in terms of what they want to do on offense, right? They are used to getting their way. They are used to being efficient. They are used to getting their yards. They are used to they're used to punching in touchdowns, right? Really at will so far this year. So if they're going to score, make it hard on them. Annoy the hell out of them. That's key number one. Key number two, work ahead. I'm going to talk about third down all week. Third down's huge. Nebraska got to get off the field on third down on defense. They got to keep drives going on third down on offense. It's a huge deal. But a lot of the third down results are dictated by the position that you put yourself in. There isn't too many holes in what Indiana has done on offense so far this year, but there is one. I do have one for you.
An Achilles heel.
It's just interesting. You look across their stat pages and analytics categories and all of these things.
It all looks so great, Connor. Maybe the best anyone's ever done
seriously,
at the game of football.
It's so green. All of it's like top 10 in the country, right? Their efficiency numbers, their bulk numbers, like all that stuff is good. Here's where they haven't been good. Average third down distance on offense.
Oh.
Average third down distance on offense. Which tells me like it actually is a pretty good window into how I feel about Indiana so far, which is a little smoke and mirrors. If you are 78th in the country in average third down distance, but you are one of the best teams in the country in converting third downs, there's something that doesn't match up there. Usually conventional wisdom would believe that you would be closer to that third down marker if you're converting all of those third downs. And yes, they're an explosive offense, but that's the point. It's a little explosive, right? So if Nebraska makes them earn it and Nebraska puts them in a position where they have to really, really stretch for that third down play, and yes, they're going to get a couple of them and they're going to seem backbreaking at the time. Average third down distance for Indiana's offense is 7.11 yards, which is 78th in the country. They convert over 50% of their third downs, 54% of their third downs, which is 9th in the country. That doesn't match up. That tells me there's an area there for Nebraska to take advantage of. That tells me that they're converting these third downs by virtue of they're not getting much resistance from the other side. Nebraska is by far and away the best defense they've seen all year. Hell, they might be the best defense they see all year. Period. Right? So this is a big challenge for them. Nebraska's offense has generally been good, so to flip it over to the other side, put yourself in third and shorts, right? Nebraska's offense has generally been good at that this year. They're averaging 6.24 yards to go on third down so far this year, which puts them at 19th in the country at the moment. Indiana's defense, also good. So there's a little rub there, right? Which one wins? Nebraska's offense doing early down work, Indiana's defense generally being pretty good on early downs as well. 8.21 yards to go on third down for their defense. Something's got to give there. So early downs. I mean, by the time you get to it, it's like, okay, you got to have success on early downs and you got to have success on third downs. That's the whole game. You should. So you're telling me that Nebraska should have success, and that is their key to success in this game, right? But I think there's some statistics in there that it'll be interesting to see how they play out, and those are really key for me in this game: third down numbers and obviously the early down numbers, and how you're positioning yourself. Third and final key, Josh.
Okay,
this is a song reference.
Oh, a song reference. Which Tony Bennett song did you pick?
It's not Tony Bennett, but it's Tony Bennett adjacent.
All right.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I would call that adjacent. A dumb like me. Yeah, same vibes.
I did it my way. That is a song that you've heard on many cleaning commercials recently, but also it's a great song by Frank Sinatra. It's called My Way. It's a great song. I'd listen to that. If I'm Matt Rule, I'm playing it in the locker room before the game.
I prefer Limp Bizkit's My Way.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
But it is a song that exists.
Nebraska needs to be like a crock pot. A Midwestern crock pot.
Like Mike Schaefer's crock pot.
I have that written down in this thing that I'm about to say. Okay. Low and slow, like a crock pot, right? That's the Nebraska way. You eat that crock pot meal and it sticks to you for a little while, right? And then you get sleepy. Then you want to take that dad nap on the couch.
Hell yeah.
Serve up a nice helping of whatever white person concoction Mike Schaefer has been conjuring up for the last 8 hours. What? We could just throw a bunch of chicken into a pot and come back to it 8 hours later and it turns into something delicious? That's right. That's the Midwestern way.
You don't even have to season it.
Slow, thick, and meaty. That's what Nebraska needs to do on Saturday. Slow, thick, and meaty. That means taking that ball, extending drives, and chewing that clock all the way down. Nom, 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 nom. As much as possible. Slow, thick, and meaty. And the meaty part is winning the game in a physical manner. Up front, offensive and defensive line. Yeah, get out your big guns. And so that's the way Nebraska needs to pour it on Saturday. Like a Mike Schaefer crock pot. It'll warm the innards. Because their way is a microwave.
Their way is fast.
Their way is a microwave.
Yeah.
You know, Signetti's a microwave. They'll pop you in, hit that add 30 seconds button, bang, I got oatmeal. Whatever the hell you put in the I don't know. I got mac and cheese. Nebraska's like, I want to put this thing in the crock pot and let it go for 8 hours and see how good it tastes.
Hey, you know, Kurt, if you put your chicken nuggets in the oven or the air fryer, they'll actually taste better. Microwave's quicker. Shut up.
Exactly.
Google it.
So Nebraska's got to do it their way tomorrow against the Hoosiers. Those are my keys, Josh.
Good keys, Connor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have some we have a text here. A key from Mike in Columbus, Ohio.
Hello, Mike in Columbus, Ohio. Go Buckeyes.
I don't even know. This is an odd text. My only key to winning is Tony White has to be defensive coordinator of the year. What does that mean? Like he has to be the best defensive coordinator in the game?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. Indiana is the greatest team that has ever stepped foot on a football field.
I heard that.
They will score 77 points on you at will.
Yes.
So Tony White has to scheme up the best game of his life.
Okay, but that makes it sound like
that's what people think, Connor.
I know. It's so odd. Like Nebraska can win this game man to man. Nebraska can win this game with their physicality. Have you seen the stat going around all week about how Indiana plays and what they do from a scheme perspective on defense? They're like 90% zone.
Yeah.
Josh.
Nebraska, very good.
Josh, you played middle school basketball, right?
I wanted to. I tried.
They
wouldn't let me.
You've watched basketball?
I watch basketball,
You watch a lot of basketball in the Class D1 state tournament, right?
Oh, God.
You know what happens?
Nothing.
Exactly. You know why teams play zone, though, in those scenarios?
Because they're cowards?
Exactly. Because they can't guard in man. That's why you play zone. Mm-hmm. Point blank, period. That's why you play zone. And then you get really good at zone and all of that stuff. But, like, that's why you play zone. Because you can't guard in man. 90% of the time, they're in zone. You want to know what Dylan Raiola's done against zone? Pick that stuff apart. Because he makes anticipatory throws, stuff that professional quarterbacks do, right? Like, so Nebraska, man to man in this game is a better team. I wholly believe that. So is it about the schemes? I don't know. I think it's more about Nebraska on the defensive side imposing their will and their physicality on it and saying, like, okay, we're just better than you and we're going to guard you man to man. And you're not going to be able to do the things that you've normally been able to do this year because we're a better team than you've seen this year.
Hey guys, I'm doing well. If you want to find a soft spot in the zone, just go find it. I'll find you. Don't worry. Break.
My Mahomes isn't as good as yours. I'm sorry.
That's the Mahomes?
Yeah.
Aaron writes in.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey, as a Class D team, we always played man. Good job by you, Aaron.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. One of few. Travis writes in.
Hi, Travis.
Signetti absolutely microwaves his fish sticks. I don't think that putting him in a crock pot is any better for the record.
Don't put
your fish sticks in a crock pot.
That's a slam on me.
Did you put your fish sticks in a crock pot?
I put my fish sticks in the microwave for my kid because they're ready quicker.
Oh, that's right.
And his unrefined
way to go, Signetti.
Google it. It's quicker. This palate doesn't care.
Happer's meme guy writes in.
Hi, Happer's meme guy.
Should we call them the Globo Gym Black Shirts? We're better than you and we know it.
I would not
Globo
be.
Gym.
I
We're
would
better
not be
than you
against
and
a
we
team.
know it.
Just have that much swagger. I'd be okay with it.
Is Tony White Goodman? Tony White Goodman. Interesting corollary. Interesting connection. Yeah, I think Nebraska's defense has the dudes to especially up front, it starts there, but and I think their game plan is would be a little bit more schemy, right? Just because of the man-to-man. And maybe as a result of that, they win because they scheme away around Nebraska's big defensive line and all that stuff. But right, they're gonna be the schemy team in this game.
I need a bunch of Suge Knights out there. I need a bunch of Death Row Records all-stars out there.
Blow some stuff up.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, we'll come back with our picks for the weekend. Josh, we will pick that Dakota Marker game. Cannot wait for that.
Done a lot of prep on it. 5
big games in college football, and finally Nebraska and Indiana. We'll be back with our picks for the weekend. Coming up on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. I haven't got an email about this being gone yet, Josh. The Zone deal this week, have you?
No, normally they tell us, hey,
right,
it's gone. But so thank your lucky stars.
Either the Zone deal is going on right now or the Zone deal is gone for the week, but it's still Cops Pizza. $50 gift certificate for just $25, 1620thezone.com, of course. And we remind you to get in on all of the good happenings at 1620 the email. So no reason to not head over to the website right now, 1620thezone.com.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
You ready to get all worked up? We're going to be working it in just a few hours on Big Dude Fox. Jenny Taft, the All-American Girl. Joel Klatt.
It's so good.
Can't wait. Can't wait till tomorrow morning.
He's like a Rolls Royce. Rolls Rourke.
This will be his first crack at Dylan Raiola. Wonder if any nicknames come out. Anything like that. This kid Raiola, he is special.
He's like a Rubicon, Joel.
It's like a Rubicon.
Rugged.
Yeah, we're working it. Maybe it's more about Rourke than Raiola tomorrow. We will see. But that Gus Johnson's got an eye for talent. Maserati Marv. All right, to the picks for the weekend. Josh, last week.
Yeah, how'd we do last week? What were the results?
You had a nice weekend. It was a 4-1 bye for you, Josh. Your one loss came on Old Mississippi against LSU.
What a heartbreaker that was for me.
The rest of them were winners. And we picked like 4 out of our 5 games were 3.5-point spreads last week. So we both picked USC. They lost, but we get the cover because they lost by 3. Nice job. You picked Oregon to cover, and then I guilted you into picking them to win, and then they did.
They did.
So
Thank you.
nice job by me. I should get a half a point for that. I won the LSU game. You lost it, and I lost. I ended up taking the L on K-State because I believe they won by 3. Yes, I did this math on Sunday night, but they were 3.5-point favorites and they won by 3.
That is correct.
So I took the L on that one.
Ooh, I got it.
And you got the win on it. So you get me by a game. I still lead you overall in the season by a game. I am 23-18 and 0, and Josh is 22-19 and 0 to the picks for the weekend.
It's called the Tiger effect, Connor. Let's see how you do with someone chasing you.
Well, I mean, only getting one game back over a week is.
But if I do that every
if you
week,
do that every week, then you probably win by like 5 games.
Yeah.
But things change quickly.
Okay.
Don't count either of us out. We'll begin in Knoxville, Josh, where tomorrow at 2:30 on ABC is a fascinating game. Fascinating
Yes.
game for a variety of reasons.
I would say the most fascinating game of the weekend.
More fascinating than the other SEC game?
I think I know which way that's going.
All right. Oh, interesting. Oh, we can't wait to pick that one. Number 7, Alabama is a 3.5-point favorite at number 11, Tennessee. 2:30 on ABC. Tennessee is on the struggle bus right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you could say the same for Alabama, who
That's right.
most recently barely beat South Carolina at home and lost to Vanderbilt a week after beating Georgia. I'm going to default to Alabama plays big in big games. Give me the Tide. Nico Amaleava. I still haven't figured that one out yet, by the way.
That sounded pretty good.
I missed at least 2 syllables.
Damn.
Nico has been rough the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks. They barely beat Florida. They lost to Arkansas. I'm going to go with Bama to win and cover on the road.
Connor, I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, you have to pick.
I have to pick something. Tennessee, Florida, always a weird game, so I'm willing to throw it out, I guess. I don't think either team could win this game by 3.5 points because it's impossible to score half a point.
I actually think Alabama wins this game like kind of by a lot.
Yeah.
I like by 2 touchdowns.
I can
maybe.
see that happening. I'm going to go Vols here, just home dog, and I'm going to hate myself in the morning for it.
Okay. So we're on opposite sides of that one. We head to the Big Ten. 2 ranked teams in the Big Ten Conference, Josh. On CBS tomorrow at 2:30, Brad Dessler, Gary Danielson will be headed to cloudy Champaign, Illinois, where the home Fighting Illini are 3.5-point underdogs to defending national champion Michigan. People forget Michigan won the national championship, Josh.
That's right.
Michigan, a 3.5-point favorite tomorrow in Champaign. Biggest game in Champaign in a very long time. This is at 2:30 on CBS.
Who is playing quarterback for Michigan tomorrow?
God only knows.
Okay.
I assume it'll be both in some way, shape, or form. But you're right, though. They completely change. And
they look completely different.
The thing is, I don't know which version of that is better.
Right.
I just think it's like an always ride the hot hand thing.
Yeah. It's just different.
Yeah.
With each quarterback.
Right.
This is a pumpkin elimination game. The loser of this game is a pumpkin.
Official pumpkin.
Both are on Pumpkin Watch. I give me Michigan because I guess they've been here before, even though it's not. It's a very different team. I guess give me Michigan.
Yeah, Illinois obviously much more dynamic than Michigan is.
Michigan still has a defense.
Michigan still has a defense, and they're still physical. So I no disrespect to the Illini, who have been really good this year.
They beat Nebraska, Colin.
They beat Nebraska, I know. And they only lost to Penn State. They lost to Penn State so close. So people are kind of on that train right now. But I will take Michigan here, and Illinois will send them into pumpkindom.
Well, they're already orange.
Off to the patch for you, Illinois.
Illinois wearing the sweet leather helmet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Red Grange.
The Red Grange throwbacks.
Number 8, LSU is a 2.5-point favorite at Arkansas, where dreams go to die. Is Talon Green 100%?
Who's to say?
Talon Green, Jaquindon Jackson. Those are my guys over there, Josh.
Every week we're picking Arkansas.
There's a reason why Arkansas keeps showing up in here. LSU's 2.5-point favorite, 6 o'clock on ESPN tomorrow. It's my pick.
You're the lead dog.
Josh, you know I got to go with my boys. I'm never leaving the side of Woo Pig Suey. Never again. They got the drooling hog on the basketball court, and I'm going with Talon Green and Jaquindon Jackson.
Is John Calipari going to show up at the game?
Probably. LSU's a lot better, by the way, but
that's why
give me some Arkansas magic.
That's why I've picked LSU to win this game by more than 2.5 points. Go Tigers.
All right. Big game of the weekend in college football. Number 5, Georgia is at number 1, Texas. Did you know, Josh, that there is a F1 race in Austin this weekend as well?
Oh.
The Grand Prix.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Wow.
Yes.
What a cluster.
Yes. So enjoy that, everybody. Texas is a 4.5-point favorite. 6:30 ABC.
Oh, this is me.
This is you.
This is me. Seems pretty simple. Texas is our closest to a wagon. They're the home team.
So dismissive.
Give me them horns.
Yeah, I like the Bulldogs. Not so fast, my friend Josh.
Ooh.
I'm going with the team that's for the same reasons that, like, for similar reasons, I guess, that I kind of dislike Indiana this weekend. Texas just really hasn't been challenged. I know they play Michigan. Quinn Ewers' health is a concern. There's that
Quinn
as well. And Georgia has been in these games before, so I'll take the experience. I know they lost to Alabama, and it didn't look good for a very, very long time in that game. I think Georgia goes on the road, wins it, and Texas cannot have nice things.
That is a possibility.
People will be saying that Texas is back after this game if they win, even though they've been the number 1 team in the country for a couple weeks now. Give me Georgia. And our game of the week in college football, Josh. That's right.
Whoa.
In FCS football, anyway. FCS number 1, South Dakota State is a 2.5-point favorite at FCS number 2, North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome. 7 o'clock, ESPN2. A couple stats, Josh, since I know this was a late ad for you. Jacks have won 5 in a row in the series. The last time the Bison won was in 2019 in Brookings with Trey Lance as the quarterback.
A very successful NFL quarterback.
A 2.5-hour drive in between these two on I-29.
Is there anything to point out the significance of the marking?
The Dakota marker.
Oh, okay.
This is the Dakota marker game, of which the Jackrabbits have kind of displaced North Dakota State as the number 1 team in the FCS and have won 5 in a row in this series. I will pick first, and I will take the aforementioned Jacks to cover the 2.5 and actually win by a couple scores on the road in Fargo.
So you're saying buy it up?
Sure, somebody might buy it up special.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would.
we could buy it up.
I would agree with you there. Give me the Jacks.
Yeah, Jacks are a little closer here. We don't deal with North Dakota. We mess with South Dakota. We don't mess with North Dakota.
That's right. Nope.
And we finish in Bloomington, where Big Dude Fox is on the air. Nebraska is at number 16. Indiana, who's a 6.5-point favorite. 11 a.m. Central Time on Fox. Time zone jump warning, Josh? Nope, not
It's
multiple
difficult.
time zone, just one time zone.
It's one singular time zone.
Who we got?
Well, I told you earlier, Nebraska ends its woes against ranked teams. It ends its streak of losses at ranked teams. It ends its streak of overtime losses. It ends its streak of field goal suckiness. And it ends its streak of bowl ineligibility with a 38-35 overtime win.
Wow.
For the Skurs.
That is a lot of points, Josh.
Untether yourselves.
See you all at Grand China Buffet.
Believe in something.
I think Nebraska wins the game as well. I think Indiana's due a little bit of little humble pie. Little humble pie. That's all. And then they will go back to, I'd put them on pumpkin watch, to be completely honest with you. Go back to not talking about them.
The only
after
reason
this.
Indiana is not on pumpkin watch is because what if they win on Saturday?
Well, Josh, untether yourself. You just gave that advice to everybody, and now you're a hypocrite. You forgot to untether yourself
I just
in this
know
regard.
many people are, why aren't they on pumpkin watch? Why aren't they on pumpkin watch? Everybody's talking. Why aren't they on pumpkin watch? Josh?
Nebraska is able to play this game on their terms for enough of the game, and then at the end, they make a couple plays on offense. Nebraska 27, Indiana 21. Take Nebraska to cover. Take the under, which has gone down from 50.5 to now 49.5, as the books have it. But everybody, that number coming down tells you more about on which terms this game people think is going to be played. Nebraska wins it, and they're bowl eligible, and we're going to the Grand China Buffet at 114th and Dodge. We'll see you there, everybody.
We'll see you all there. Look for us. We'll be there.
We'll have our poll questions. We'll tell you what to watch after this on 1620 The Zone. right, to the polls at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Don't forget that Big Red Overreaction comes to you at in the neighborhood of 2:30 or 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with Gary Sharp and Austin Jacobson.
That's right. His first Big Red Overreaction.
Oh, I'm sure you guys will treat him well.
Yeah.
It won't be nightmarish at all.
Don't scare the poor boy.
There's definitely no narratives that'll come out of this game. To the polls. Can anyone replace Bald Vinny? Nobody can replace Bald Vinny, Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to go no.
Not Skinny Jerry or whatever that guy's name is now. 69% say no.
Nice.
If you respond to a Go Big Red chant, are you a sheep?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
One of my favorites. One of my favorites. I love responding to a Go Big Red chant for the record.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it, but yeah, I mean, they're telling me to do something and I'm doing it. 52% say yes. That's close. And finally, were they doing mullets in 1936?
I mean, you're probably right. No,
I don't think they were. 74% say they were not doing mullets in 1936. Oh, we had a poll question from yesterday afternoon as well. Who's better, Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson? Definitely not Neil deGrasse Tyson. 60% say Carl Sagan. He walked so Neil deGrasse Tyson can do whatever the hell he's doing. Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching today?
We are watching baseball this weekend. Game 5 of the NLCS. Dodgers lead 3-1. They will win the pennant this afternoon, more than likely.
Wow, that's a prediction.
FS1, 4 o'clock is when that game is starting at Citi Field. Yankees and Guardians. Game 4 tonight, 7 o'clock. TBS, True TV, and Max. Yankees lead that series 2-1. If they need a
watch out,
there will be a game 5.
Watch out
in Cleveland tomorrow.
Little Cleveland magic here.
7 o'clock tomorrow night on those same TBS, True TV, and Max. If there is a game 6 in the NLCS, it will be in Los Angeles. It will be Sunday night, 7 o'clock on FS1. Football here locally this weekend. Patriots, Jaguars in the London finale from Wembley Stadium, 8:30 Sunday morning on NFL Network.
Yay!
Texans, Packers, noon on CBS as God intended. Lions, Vikings, noon on Fox. And that will be followed by Chiefs, Niners, and then Jets, Steelers, 7 o'clock Sunday night on NBC. They have a starting quarterback for Pittsburgh. They will not be announcing it. Mike Tomlin has said they will keep that in-house.
Oh, great.
So it's absolutely Russell Wilson.
What are they doing?
Why?
Why?
Why? Someone tell me why.
I don't get it.
Because he was promised something? This is a professional sport. College football tonight. 4 games tonight. FSU and Duke, 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN2. I'm ready to rule this the big meteor game of the week.
All right. First ever.
Yeah. Congratulations to FSU and Duke.
You just hope both teams lose?
Yeah, kind of do.
I don't really understand why you would care about either.
Well, Duke football doesn't raise my ire like Duke basketball, but it's the same people rooting for them.
Okay.
So,
all right, whatever. Hey, it's up to you, man.
Number 2, Oregon at Purdue in what is definitely a trap game, according to Fox. 7 o'clock tonight.
People are saying.
Oklahoma State at number 13, BYU, 9:15 tonight on ESPN. Fresno State, Nevada, 9:30 tonight. CBS Sports Network. College game days in Austin.
Thank you for saying BYU, by the way.
Thank you. I emphasized it for you. Don't want to make you uncomfortable. Georgia, Texas is where college game day will be tomorrow. You can hear that game on 1620 The Zone, by the way. Guest picker, noted criminal Scotty Scheffler. And then Big Noon is obviously in Bloomington for just the second time ever. Last time they were there, Indiana lost 31-10 to Michigan, October 8th, 2022. And they have just announced, Connor.
Yeah, I was just going to get to this. Go ahead. Tell the people.
This just in, over the wires, a special guest will be in Bloomington.
Put our breaking news graphic by this.
Big dude, yes. I will do that when I get back to the studio. It's a good one. John Cougar Mellencamp. They got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. John Cougar Mellencamp.
John Mellencamp.
Yeah, that's right. He dropped the Cougar. a
No
long time
more
ago.
Cougar.
That's right. He'll be sucking on a chili dog at Big Noon.
If I told you that Big Noon got a 73-year-old to do their celebrity appearance for this show, which 73-year-old would you thought that would have been? I wouldn't have thought this guy.
Nope, I would have went in the realm of politics.
Yeah, something like that.
The WNBA finals will wrap up this weekend. We just don't know when.
Where's Bob Seger at these days?
Game 4 in Minnesota tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN. The Liberty will win the series with a win tonight. If Minnesota wins, they will play a decisive Game 5 Sunday, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Volleyball, big volleyball weekend here. Creighton hosts Xavier tonight, 6 o'clock, Nebraska Public Media, or 1180. The Zone. Sunday, 1 o'clock on 1180. Creighton will host DePaul in the annual Pink Out game. And Nebraska has a big weekend as well. They're at Michigan State tonight, 5 o'clock, BTN. And then they are at Ohio State tomorrow, 2:30 on NBC.
Oh, look at that.
On a college football Saturday.
How about that?
Nebraska volleyball will be on network television. A couple of movies to stream. Maxine is on Max. It seems fitting. And the debut from Anna Kendrick as a director.
Oh.
Woman of the Hour. She's an aspiring actress. She went on The Dating Game in the 70s, and she got matched up with a killer. Not Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick plays.
Classic thing that happened in the 70s.
Right?
Yep.
And 8 o'clock Sunday, I'm required by law to tell everyone about this as a sports media person.
Tommy Boy's on.
8 o'clock Sunday on ABC, Bruce Springsteen, backstage and back streets. Go behind the scenes with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
We're watching tonight. That's the show. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The week has concluded for us, but not until the crossover, which is next.